Hello there, everybody. It's me, Garrett Kidney, the co-host of You've Got to Be Kidding Me on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And I am Liam Jones, my full name, and I'm also a part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network as a co-host for You've Got to Be Kidding Me.
We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. We cover all the drama, all the matches, all the Vince Russo nonsense you could ever want in your life.
Have you heard of TNA? I bet you have, but would it be funnier if two people made jokes over it the whole time? Probably.
So if that sounds like fun to you, check it out on this very Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and Liam will do bits and whatnot.
Some matches are temporary, but your privacy shouldn't be. With Line 2, you get a second phone line just for dating. No need to share your personal number until you're ready. You can chat, text, and even block numbers, all while keeping things fun and private. It's perfect for online dating, blind dates, or just keeping things light. When you're ready to move on, Line 2 lets you cut ties without any drama. Dating should be fun and carefree. Line 2 keeps it that way. Ready to date on your terms? Visit line2.com/audio or download Line 2 in the App Store today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Thank you so much for supporting WWE and NXT and me. You're so sweet.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
Listen, pal, don't you be quote tweeting me with a pile of garbage and Jeff Goldblum when you make $0. When you're slapping an alarm clock and going to a job, I don't want to hear from you. How are your takes doing, sir? How are you doing with your quote tweet that also gets 0 engagement? That gets 1 like, and it's from your mother. Okay, how you doing?
Rich Craig. Is that the least sexy way to describe a butt? The posterior.
You don't say that in the bedroom. God, no.
Hey, nurse, let me see that posterior.
Nurse, touch my posterior, please.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
I'm all right.
Just all right? That's fine. It's okay to be okay. It's okay to not be okay, Joe. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That was not okay.
It's just all right. Yeah, I don't know. All right. That's not.
Answer that. I've been over this. I don't know.
All right. I don't know.
Fine. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. I'll stop asking.
Yeah. When your wife says she's fine, do you keep asking how she is?
Yeah. It's usually not good. No, it's usually not good.
No. Got to abort mission at that point.
Well, the way you say no, but see, and as you know, there's many different ways to say I'm fine.
Yeah.
I guess the way you said it there was okay, we're good, just abort mission. No, I don't know. You put a little more emphasis on it. No, I think your I'm fine is not actually fine.
You're looking for tone?
Fine. It's what you're like, I'm fine. That's different. I'm fine. Right?
You're looking for tone. You're looking for energy.
Space. The space between I'm and fine.
I don't know. I'm normal. I don't know how to answer the question. I'm just living a life on a Thursday night. I'm
just having a ball. Yeah. All right.
I had a little dinner. I watched a little baseball. I took a shit. I pet the cat.
That's
fine.
A day. Hey, that's a hell of a day. That's a Joe Lanza day right there. That's it.
Yeah,
Watch the Reds. Watch your Chicago White Sox just surge through another victory.
I did watch the White Sox win 8-0. I did watch that. I made some. I made pork carnitas on the slow cooker today. I got up early in the morning to get that going. Okay. So, maybe I'm a little tired because I got up at the crack of dawn, which I don't like to do. So that I don't. Now you're making me think so. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine.
Okay, all right. If you're fine, you're fine.
I'm fine. I don't like getting up at 10 o'clock, but I mean sometimes getting
the unholy hour of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you were up. You were up and reading messages and sending messages way earlier. This is a bad sign. Either the Reds have like an 11 a.m. game because they're on early or something like that. Yeah,
it was an 11:40 first pitch.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. So the truth comes out a little bit. The Carnitas were a byproduct of the Reds' early pitch.
Well, I'm a smart guy, Rich. When I tell the rest of the house, hey, look, I'm going to be cooking something that requires, I plan it accordingly. I'm not going to do that on a day where the Reds' first pitch is 6:40. I'm going to do it when I got to be up anyway.
Right.
For the 11:40 first pitch. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm having a normal day that I'll soon forget. I don't know how else to phrase this. What percentage of days in your life do you think you just forget?
Oh, when it's over, it's just like, I'll never remember this day ever again. Yeah,
right.
A lot. I'd say that number has decreased since we've started doing this, because I remember our shows a lot. I'll remember things we do in our shows. I'll remember bits that we do. So these days become a little bit more memorable. Like, prior to us doing this, like, almost every day was forgettable, right? But now it's like, we do it. That's a dim outlook. Almost every day was forgettable for me. Well, it was fine, but it was like, I don't know. It was like nothing that like you'll really remember. It was like, you hang out with people. It was just kind of whatever. And you did, it was few and far between.
That day you'll soon forget.
Right. It was like, I hung out with a bunch of people. We went to a bar and then I went home. It's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, that day I'm never going to remember that day ever again.
You're never going to remember a single detail from that day.
No,
that's my point. What percentage of days does the common person forget? Like, by the end
probably
of their
many.
life,
it's probably a lot. Yeah, it's probably a lot more than we think it is.
When they're clocking out of that final shift and they're on their deathbed, what percentage of days that somebody lived were days that they soon forgot? That, like, within 7 days they don't remember anything about the day. I would set the over under, and let's do it this way. Do you think the common person completely forgets 80% of the days that they live? Higher or lower? I
would say higher.
Really?
Well, what are we constituting as a day that is it like the full day? Is it one certain part of the day? Is there a certain threshold of hours that we're saying that you'll remember like this amount of hours in the day? Or is it just remembering? Because if it's remembering like one little detail about that day, it might be a little higher. But if it's like, that day, I'll always remember June 5th, 1998.
No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't have to be one of the most memorable days of your life. It just has to be a day that's not completely memory wiped. You remember enough of it to remember that the day happened.
Okay, but not like one little thing. Or you think one little thing could be enough to stretch it out? Because that would determine my percentage.
Yeah. I would say if you remember one detail from a day, then that's not a day that you have forgotten.
Okay,
I'm talking about a day that just.
Nothing happened. You woke up, you ate, you slept, and it's just...
You went to work, you came home, and it may as well have not even occurred.
Right.
Because you don't have a fragment of a memory of that day. Would you say 80% of days lived? I'd say less than 80%.
Okay, yeah. So I was trying to define it a little bit larger than that. I would say under that definition, we're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe 60% of your days are just kind of nothing.
You just memory wiped.
Yeah, I think so.
May as well have not happened.
I think 60. I'm pretty comfortable with 60, I think.
It's depressing to think about, right?
It is horrible. Yeah, it's awful.
What you're saying is when you wake up tomorrow, there's a 6 in 10 chance that day may as well not even happen.
Right.
There's nothing that's going to happen that day that you'll ever remember again.
Most likely, no. Probably not. I think it becomes even more so as you get, obviously, when you get to your like adult and you wake up at the same time, you do the same fucking thing every morning, you get in the car at the same time, you drive to work at the same time, you see the same people, you know what I mean, those things, and then it becomes every day becomes less and less memorable, right? And then you need one thing to happen that diverts you from that, but how often does that really happen? It's very rare for me. I mean, it's like the same, oh, hey, how's it going? Good morning. You walk over to the coffee machine. It's like the same thing every fucking day. God.
Fucking
sucks.
Bill Murray and Groundhog Day.
I know, it stinks. Sometimes you see the worst is, and I'm sure some people encounter this as well. When you drive to work and you see the same people in the same cars as you're driving to work.
Oh.
Sometimes you look over and you're like, oh man, I saw that car like a couple days ago. We're on the same path. Or there's like a certain bumper sticker, like they have a bumper sticker, and you're like, oh, it's that fucking guy again. Unbelievable.
I saw that same guy in traffic picking his nose with his pinky 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking.
And then that day, I think already is on the bad. You know what I mean? That day's already on its way to being one of the bad days. But then but if you think about it, because I remember that guy had the dumb bumper sticker and he picked his nose, is that a memorable day?
If you remember the bumper sticker and the pinky nose picker,
Right.
yes.
See, so then maybe it is. So then maybe there are more days that I remember.
Yeah, I mean, if you increase the standard to, you have to remember a decent chunk of the day, and those, I think then yes, the percentage would go upwards of 80%. As I sit here and think about it.
Yeah, like you remember like a full, not a full day, but like most of the day. You know what I mean? You remember
most of the day,
a
many
big
events,
activity, how you got there, what happened afterwards, what you ate afterwards, what you know, that sort of those things stack up onto each other.
More than a fleeting moment.
Right.
More than a fleeting moment. Then yeah, I'd say 80% or more of days are just soon forgotten.
That's horrifying. Yeah, it sucks.
Dark around here. Right?
It's getting really dark. Yeah, it's not just outside. It's not just the sun setting here in Chicagoland. It's just dark as we're realizing everything we do is worthless. Why do we even bother? All these days, you hit that alarm clock. You're like, this day's shot already. You know what I mean? There's a 20% chance this day will be memorable at all. Fuck.
I'm a pretty happy guy. Like I you know me. I'm a pretty happy guy in life. I enjoy life. But I don't think you.
I hate to put this on you, but you don't strike me as a man who has many memorable, like individual days, like in a given week. You see what I'm saying? Like I feel like you kind of stick to a routine a little bit.
Well, I don't like to do a lot of
things. You don't do anything.
Like if
right?
that's
kind of
I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, you wake up, you go to the den, you go to the den, you watch a game, you watch some wrestling, you eat a meal, and then you go to bed. That's kind of that's like an ideal Joe Lanza day, and I feel like a lot of those, if you combine enough of those, they're going to start getting samey.
Yeah, I'm amused by. See, I'm amused by simple pleasures though. I don't need to jump through a fire hoop to enjoy myself. That's you know what I mean? Some people just get bored out of their minds and they have to constantly be doing something. I love my house. My house activities I enjoy can be within the I don't need to leave the house to have a great day. And I think a lot of people do. A lot of people are like, I can't be in the house. Some people just they get what's the term I'm looking for? They get cabin fever. They got to get out. They got to, I can't enjoy my life if I'm stuck in this house. Like I've thought about like you watch things, people get put on house arrest. I'm like, that wouldn't even be like punishment. Like,
like oh great.
If I run,
you're like you'd run and maybe go download some video games and stuff, and like you're like, oh great, I've been trying to. Yeah, house arrest sounds. Yeah, I often think that house arrest, like for a little bit, I don't want like that long a house arrest, but man, you give me 6 months, that'd be pretty fucking great. A lot of stuff I'd like to finish
if I were on house arrest, really, honestly, not much would change, except someone else would have to do the grocery shopping. And that's okay. Like, that's fine with me. I'll give that up for a while.
Yeah, well, you were also, but to be fair, you were a delivery grocery guy for a little bit too. So you could go back to that if you needed to. Because you are still technically, via the apps or whatever, you are still technically. Now I know it doesn't go. I don't do the grocery store. I don't trust those people to pick out my fucking bananas and shit. So I'm not doing that. But
that's why I stopped doing it.
Yeah, it's too. You can't trust that.
I got addicted. I got addicted to it for a while because I was like, what an amazing service. All you got to do is tip this goofball when he shows up, and they'll just get everything for you. They'll drive it to your house. They'll bring it up to your door. This is amazing, right? But then you realize it's like, well, I want to pick out my meat. I want to pick out my produce. They're not going to put any effort into it's something like, you get avocados. Maybe you don't plan on using them for a few days, so you're picking out the ones that aren't ripe yet. You don't know what you're going to get when they show up at your door. It could be ripe already, and then you got to like, fuck, now I got to eat these avocados. I got to eat them like within 24 hours, or they're going to be disgusting. So that's why I don't do it anymore. But the convenience factor was through the roof. But yeah, it comes to girls. You got to pick out your own shit. You got to pick out.
Because I'm specifically bananas. Like bananas a lot of people are very different on what they want out of a banana. I love like when they're still kind of greenish, They're not even close to ripe. Like those were a little sour. Like that's my kind of banana. And some people like it, completely yellow. Some people like a little bit of the brown spots, and nobody likes it when it's all the way brown. I can't have some random person grab bananas for me because forget it. Like if they give me the stuff that's already getting a little bit brown, 2 days later that shit's worthless. And then it's banana bread, and then I only can use it to make banana bread, which I don't want to do.
You don't like the mushy banana?
No, not a baby. Get out of here.
Strong feelings about
I
the
like
mushy banana.
A nice hearty banana. Yep, nice.
You know who likes a mushy banana?
You
don't know where I'm going with this.
No,
at
I
all.
don't know where you're going.
Kevin Owens enjoys a mushy banana.
Really?
Yeah, he enjoys a mushy banana.
Yeah, I can't. I can't do
More
it.
brown spots on the outside, the better for Kevin Owens.
Nah.
You're not going to ask how I know that? You're not going to ask how I know that?
I suppose I should ask.
Isn't it a little weird that I know that?
Joe, how do you know that Kevin Owens / Kevin Steen likes his bananas a little brown?
Well, you see, I'll tell you, Rich Craich. You're expecting some kind of interesting story here, but I simply saw him tweet that one time.
Oh, I was wondering if it came up on like a shoot interview, like like a random shoot interview one time, but he just tweeted it one time. And you remember that. But see, here we go. There you go. There's a perfect example. You remember the day that you saw Kevin Owens tweet that he liked mushy bananas?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember.
And
that.
if the threshold is, that's a day. That's a day right there.
Yeah, I think remembering random facts doesn't count as remembering the day, though, right?
Because you don't remember what day it was. It could have been.
Right, exactly. It could have been that. Seriously, that could have been a year ago or 10 years ago. Yeah. I really have no idea.
Which is unfortunately an issue with us in wrestling, too, because we can't recall like dates of anything or like, what was on Backlash 2 years ago. Dates. It's like, fucking forget it. Who the fucking knows?
You got to get Charles on here for that. That guy. Loss.
Yep.
You give him any famous match, he rattles off the date. That is such an amazing ability. I don't have that ability to remember dates. I remember dates of like three matches, the ones that are known by the dates. You know what I mean? Right. Like this guy can rattle off the date of like, oh yeah, that aired on WCW Saturday Night on February 16th, 1992. It's like, how the fuck do you remember this shit?
The Scotty Flamingo versus Flying Brian match or whatever. And he's got the exact date, exact show,
Yeah, or you'll name a match and he'll be like, oh, which one? The one from 10/15/85 or the I'm 11/16/87?
I don't know.
And you're like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. How the hell did you do that?
But also, I'm
not sure.
I don't know which
one.
I
don't know. You're going to have to, and then you just name a couple spots and he knows them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The one with the sunset flip and then, say no more. That was the 1987 match. Like, it's incredible. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. I'm not one of those guys. That's a guy. Let me tell you something. That's a guy who doesn't forget a large percentage of the days.
No. He remembers every day, I think.
His percentage is lower. Like he'll forget maybe 60% of the days he lived as opposed to 80%. So now if you forget that you lived a day, did it happen?
Oh, man, here you go.
Or are we in the simulation, as some believe? See, I think the day happened. I mean, I'm not one of those nut jobs that thinks like, if you can't remember it, it might not have existed. But who's to say, right?
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's not. It happened. You know what I mean? It's just forgettable. I think a lot of days are just forgettable.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into a simulation thing here, but.
Well, what you should do is just go on your phone and just record a little message to yourself each morning and say, all right, it's May 2nd. Just want proof that this day did in fact exist. And there it is, and then that's how you beat the simulation.
Yeah. What does help too is got one of those Google gimmicks, I forget what the fucking one is. It's similar to the Amazon Alexa or whatever. I have one of the Google gimmicks in the kitchen, and it rotates photos from each other, like her phone and my phone. So anytime I wake, it'll just be a constant stream of photos from our phone over the last 10 years or whatever. So that helps. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that day we did that. So that helps a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, that day we did that, or okay. Whereas I could definitely see pre-smartphone it might be even a little trickier because you don't even. I mean, it's like. Family brought a Kodak on a vacation and maybe used it, and that's it. That's the only thing you have to document any day in your entire life.
I want to go back to this little gimmick where it shows the pictures from your phone from Do you know how many dick pics would be flashed in my kitchen if I had that device? Like, do you have any idea?
Yeah, because ours just like there's no filter. It comes directly from our phones and displays it out there.
Hold on, it randomly chooses pictures from your phone.
Correct.
And you allow this to occur.
Yeah, I don't have anything. It's just pictures of my dogs. It's just dog pictures and then like birds. It's just dogs and birds, basically.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? We'd get arrested if the children saw what was on our phones. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you two should be a little bit more apprehensive to allow that.
I mean, just what we send back and forth on a common work day. I mean, you can't like segregate this to a certain folder. It just picks random pictures.
You could. And then we decided that we didn't have any reason to segment it. So then we just decided to make it every photo.
Wow. Yeah. I forget that.
Definitely get one of those for your the bedroom, and then you guys can relive those moments. You go, whoa, look, oh wow, remember that? Yeah, there you go.
Those are days you don't forget.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can make sure you don't forget it. You're like, whoa, holy smokes, I do remember that day now. Yeah, all right.
I without question, without even having to look, have more pictures of my gimmick than my face in my phone. It's not even close. Like it's like it wouldn't even be worth examining to see if that's a true fact.
You're just positive of it. Well, but I would imagine your phone, because like my phone doesn't have any of my face, but her phone does, because if we're someplace and she wants to take a picture, it's almost always going to be on her phone.
Yeah, because I never want to take a picture.
Right, and I imagine. Do you think there's more? How many pictures of your face are on her phone?
Well, again, it's more than my phone, but not that many, because I don't like having my picture taken.
Yeah, right. You don't strike me as oh yes, we're at the zoo. Let's go take a selfie in front of the giraffe.
Not a chance.
Oh, the giraffe is behind us. Let's take a selfie.
And she knows not to ask, and she also knows if she does take a picture of me, it is forbidden to go on social media.
Got it. Yeah.
Forbidden. It's for your purposes only. You want, but
what is good is that you guys have children, so she could just take photos of the children.
Yeah, there's tons of pictures of the kids and the cat and the dead dogs and everything, but there's no like me. Forget it. Like, why would I ever take a pic? I haven't
taking pictures stink.
Yeah, like I haven't taken a picture of myself since I've been single. Like, I don't have any use for them anymore. The only reason I would take a picture of myself is to like put on a dating site or something, or put on Tinder. I have no functional use
for a picture
of myself anymore. There's no point. What am I using it for? If you're like, oh, remember, I don't want to remember nothing. It don't. It doesn't matter. I don't want. If she wants, sometimes on a holiday, I'm wearing. She likes the shirt I'm wearing or something, and I'm like, all right, I'll take a picture. But she understands the framework. Look, no social media, and it's for your eyes only. That's all. Nobody needs to see me.
But the gimmick, you get no problem. That thing's getting snapped on a daily basis, right?
Hundreds. Yeah, I mean, I'm an artist. The angles, play around with the filters, work from I like to work in black and whites. Yeah, it's just all kinds
of a little noir, a little film noir style. The black and white, deep blacks, subtle whites, good shadows, good. Okay,
hundreds. I got all the classics from the pre-married days that I just can't let go of. There's so many. There's just so many.
The classics.
Yeah, the one, sometimes we'll reminisce. I'll say, remember I sent you this before we were like oh yeah, I remember that one. It's
she fun. Remembers she remembers the certain gimmick pictures.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Absolutely, she remembers the gimmick pictures.
So maybe you have more memorable days than you think.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, unfortunately it's just of your cock, but it's.
I mean, a lot of them are action shots too. I mean, they. Don't make me it's the first hour of the show, Rich. Don't let me get too explicit, but a lot of them are action shots as well.
Got it. Okay.
Where I'm not alone in these photos. You're picking up what
I think I understand what you're saying. Thank you for continuing to describe it. Yeah. So got to be kind of blurry though, right? Are you good at keeping a steady hand while you're taking these photos?
Man, like, don't pretend like you don't do this.
No, I would be on my Google gimmick. Of course I can't do this. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. You're just like, oh, just don't move for a second, and you take a picture, or you're already filming anyway. So what's the difference? So you take screen grabs or whatever. It's,
So make sure you're getting the best out of these photos.
Oh, I'm getting the best out of them.
Okay. All right.
But if you want to you want me to take a nice shot with the family on Easter. That's
fuck that.
That's where you got to twist my arm. I'm like, come on, huh? Fucking fourth quarter here, Lakers and fucking Suns making me get up and take a picture.
Lakers Suns.
It's like,
it's Kevin, the current state of both those teams. You're like, it's kind of fun. I don't know. It's pretty good.
Like, LeBron's playing with 5 fouls here. I'm trying to, see if he can massage the rest of this fourth quarter. So there's no way that whatever you got going on can't use that. That's ridiculous.
I'd assume that most people cannot be as crazy as we're living on the edge there a little bit, but
you are. I kind of respect the innocence of both of your phones because listen, you're going to be tugging your collar. I don't believe for 1 second that you two have never played around and taken some risque photos and videos. I don't buy it. That I don't buy. So you're either like you've got them in the hidden files in the phone somewhere, or you just you playfully delete them after you take them. That's crazy. Like your parents can come over and you might just have some wild Joe Lanza-esque action shot in there that you guys forgot about. Where you're doing something to her boobs, and it could just pop up in the kitchen when you're like talking to your old man.
It's possible.
You're really playing with fire, right? I mean, think about that. Have you put thought into this? I'm trying to save you here.
I have thought about it. Yeah, we're good. I think we're good.
Let me save you, Rich Craich. Or what if she's enjoying a night, having a bath, snaps a pic, she's feeling herself, right?
Yeah. The dad
Maybe
is
forgets
actually, that's the more likely scenario of the two. Yeah.
I mean, women do that. Men don't do that. We don't stand around like, oh, well, my hog is looking spectacular today.
It sounds like you do. It sounds like you do every day.
Occasionally.
But the way you described it, it happens every day, it sounds like.
Yeah, but what if she does that and like normally she deletes it after she enjoys it or whatever? Or like maybe she sends it to you and goes, "Hey, look at this, Rich," and then you both, do whatever. And then normally she deletes it, but she doesn't this time.
Yeah.
And like her in-laws are over and it just pops up on the Google gimmick and she's standing there in the bathroom, like rocking a fucking pose, like completely nude, freshly shaven, like a wet seal. It's just, you can't have that.
It's a risk. It is. I think we're good.
It's very risky.
It's very risky. It is very risky.
I can't believe you're allowing this now.
Living on the edge. Maybe I'm secretly hoping a couple of those pop up every so often,
I mean, that's maybe that is your angle here. Maybe that's your game. Maybe here, what you should do? You just gave me an idea. When you're really rocking a healthy one, you know what I'm talking about, right? When it's one of those days where you got the 100%er.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good heart rate, good blood flow,
right.
good blood pressure, everything's working. Yeah.
You haven't given her that patented Rich Craich action in a while. Maybe you're in a little bit of a dry spell and you've got 100%er because you're really raring to go. You should take a picture of that and then just wait for it to pop up when she's around. Right? See, now we're thinking.
But the fear is, like you said, that the in-laws come over to
That's true. Yeah.
Like her dad will come over occasionally and just like work on a window or something like that, or he's like, you're this. I'm gonna fix your window or something like that. That's my worry, is that he comes over.
It's a legitimate worry.
Yeah.
But you can
he'll just sometimes
come.
You're right. He'll sometimes just come on on his own. Just he's trying to be nice. He's like, I have some extra time. I'm gonna come on over, and it'd be like, oh fuck, if I don't know that he's coming.
Because otherwise, she's just in there making her oatmeal or whatever, and she's enjoying some photos of the dogs and the landscape, and then
big old hog,
yeah, Rich's big old hog, and then she gets a little randy, and then you're like, oh,
Randy,
you're like, oh, nurse, you fancy a poke? And she's like, I sure do, and then look, then it's on. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad strategy.
It's not a bad strategy.
Can't hurt, might help, I think is
yes, absolutely.
That, yeah.
Well, could it hurt though? Would she be disgusted by that sort of display?
Probably, yeah.
You know how this would backfire. She would wonder why that's in your phone.
Correct.
And why she didn't know about it.
Right.
And she's like,
Well, it'd be very unlike me. So she'd be like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, is this yours? Is this someone else's?
Oh,
Why
God, I didn't even
this?
think of that.
Yeah.
Like, is someone sending you these?
Right.
Well, surely she would recognize your gimmick.
Maybe. I would hope. I mean, I certainly would hope. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, maybe you're a lights off couple. I don't know. But but I'm saying, hopefully she would recognize it at least. But yeah, she'd probably be like, why is this in his phone? And why didn't I know about it?
A little weird.
And then you try to explain, oh, no, it was supposed to be a surprise.
Joe told me to do it.
Yeah. Don't blame him. Surprise. She's like, who the fuck? Which whore did you send this to?
Yeah, fancy a poke?
Like,
come on, fancy.
Yeah.
Is that what you said earlier? Fancy a poke?
Yeah. You're like, surprise, fancy a poke. She's like, which whore at work?
Yeah.
She's naming all the women you work with.
All two of them. Yeah, not many at work. So.
Yeah, it's one of those wrestling whores. Yeah, that's it. And then you forget it. I think
she's also aware of the male domination of the wrestling scene as well. So that's the other problem too, is there's really never any fear. Like she'll go on like vacations or whatever, and people are like, you don't care that like Rich is at home, and she's like, no, he's like at home recording podcasts, or he's going to a wrestling show with a bunch of other men, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of all I'm doing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
like my friends come over, we play video games, or I go to a wrestling show with just 95% men at the show. So yeah, you don't have to really worry.
Yeah. Now, the more I think about this, the more it would backfire. You don't do it.
No, there's
don't do that. You're gonna, you're gonna end up. My advice is gonna lead to a divorce. Is what's gonna happen. She's gonna be disgusted by this, and
it's just not been our thing. So I think out of nowhere being a thing would be rough.
Never snapped a pic, not a single bit.
It's just not our thing. Is the best way to put it. Yeah,
doesn't have to be your thing, but I'm saying, riding a bike's not my thing, but I've ridden a bike before. You know what I'm saying? So
when's the last time you rode a bike?
You've never.
1986. 1994, I think, is the last time you rode a bike. You rode your bike to Circuit City to buy like a fucking Soundgarden CD or whatever, and that was it. You're like, fuck.
When did Michael Petrulio steal my Huffy? Let me think about this.
Right, exactly. And you're like, you can have it. I'm good.
Yeah, my parents were like, well, if it got stolen, that's on you. What do you think? We're made of money, and that's it. Never had a bike again. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. No, speaking of
what is
things,
this show? Are you going to try to segue into a real topic?
Speaking of things, I think you're going to be surprised here. I think, you know what? You're going to owe me an apology in about roughly 15 to 20 seconds. How about that? I'm so confident in this segue. Okay. That I'm just going to lay it on you.
Let's see. All right. I'm ready.
Speaking of things that are sure to backfire, Rich Craich, I know it's not on the run sheet, but we have to talk about this Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Pro wrestling project. First, my apology. I'm all ears.
That was good. That was pretty good.
This is an excellent segue.
That was excellent.
That was one of the better segues the show has ever. I mean, that was perfect.
That was good. You could also have said, speaking of dicks, or something like that would have worked too for an Eric Bischoff Eazy-E transition. But I like the way you did it there.
Sure. Look, this man is strictly business, and when it comes to the business of starting up pro wrestling promotions, he has a long track record of massive success.
Every business. The list of businesses.
Buffalo Bill's whiskey or whatever the fuck.
Buffalo Bill Cody beer, which
how's that going?
Not well, because the Buffalo Trace, I think, ended up suing him, and I think that ended up not going very well for
that's a surprise. How about all of his great television pilots that he
with Hervey Bischoff Hervey Entertainment
involved with over the years?
The Scott Baio Celebrity Championship Wrestling.
Well, the Scott Baio one actually did have a second season,
that's
right?
True.
So
that's true.
1 out of 30 isn't bad, I guess. But I mean, look, this isn't even Sleazy E's first attempt at a pro wrestling startup. As you noted, the Hulk Hogan Celebrity Wrestling. How about the Hulk Hogan Midget Wrestling?
I was going to say the next one was the Hulk Hogan Midget Wrestling. Yeah.
Was Bischoff behind Met Rats?
Yeah.
Okay, so this would at least be at minimum, and we could be forgetting a few. The fourth pro wrestling startup he's going to attempt, and we all know it's going to crash and burn and fail miserably. I mean, if they run more than one show. I think the over-under on total events that they run is what, 1.5? Is that a fair number?
Yeah, for sure.
They'll run one. They'll run one.
Yeah, I absolutely one. But I cannot imagine two is going to be dubious for sure.
So 1.5 is the over-under. So at minimum, this will be the fourth pro wrestling startup that this man has. And we're already chalking it up as a failure. Make no mistake, this has 0% chance of success. But it's funny because now, did you notice over the last couple of months, he's gotten real quiet about Tony Khan and AEW. Mm-hmm. And to me, it makes a lot of sense because he knew this was in the works, and it's hard for him to go out there and scream and yell. And well, he doesn't really scream and yell. He's not a screamer or a yeller. He's not Vince Russo's a screamer and a yeller. I would say Bischoff he doesn't lose his emotions when he's kind of calm and he's Mr. Cool. He wants to play. Right. He's the kind he wants to present a cool image of the all-knowing.
This guy doesn't know what he's doing because he's never been in the TV business like I have, and I know what it's like to negotiate TV deals. Like it comes from a place of like you said, I'm calm, knowledge. Cool. Yeah. I know everything. He doesn't know shit. I've been in this industry. He hasn't. I've negotiated TV deals. He hasn't. It's like it comes from that standpoint of like, yeah, he thinks he has the high ground on this, so he comes at it like he's speaking down to this guy, not yelling or whatever. So yeah, it's never been his vibe.
Right. Like it's so obvious what he's saying is correct, so that he doesn't need to lose control of it. But anyway, this will be the fourth pro wrestling startup that fails, and I think the reason that he has piped down when it comes to Tony Khan, and in fact, he congratulated AEW for that. I didn't turn my phone off. Did you hear that?
I did.
Did you hear
Is it a scoop? Is it a scoop or a dick pic? Is it a scoop or a nude pic?
It really could be either. It's neither. It's a fantasy baseball update. So
not fun at all.
Extremely fun. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You got to get back in the game, man.
I'm out. Once you're out, never go out because once you're out, you're out. It's like it's as I watch my friends do it now, it like repulses me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, oh God, you're spending all your time on it. Whereas I did it for years, and I'm like, my friends are like on their phones and they're doing drafts at work and stuff, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? That's ridiculous. But that was me not that long ago. But now, once you're out of it, it's impossible to get back in because they ask me to get back in every year, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Easier than ever, though. It's right on your phone.
It is. No, I get it. I get it for sure.
Don't even have to be in front of the laptop. You can do it on the go. But anyway, I think that's why he piped down about Tony, and he even congratulated him for Dynamite passing Nitro, which could have been the old let me cut this off at the pass. So if people think that I'm not bothered by it, then maybe people won't knock me. That's what I thought initially, but it seems like he was setting up because this thing is going to fail. It's going to be another failure, and it's going to be a pro wrestling startup failure. Meanwhile, Tony Khan, who he swears is doing everything wrong, and if you're not growing, you're dying, and they're not going to make it. Now they're on their third or fourth television deal. This one making them totally solvent, making them the second most successful wrestling promotion of all time by a sizable margin over the ones that he ran. Okay, I think that's why he has piped down over the last couple of months. He knows this isn't going to work, right? I mean, he knows this is destined for failure.
No. This whole thing, for people that don't know, a little bit of background about it, if you need the quickest, is, and I talked about this in a Flagship Plus that it was last week. I did a Flagship Plus, and or maybe it was over the weekend. I think it was over the weekend that these guys were talking about doing something, and I had this horrible fear that it was going to be a podcast. Like I was just like, oh dear God! Like Bischoff has decided I've done everything I can do. There's nothing more in my grift left. I'm going to bring Hogan in, and now our new thing is going to be we can review those same things all over again. We can go back and talk about all 83 weeks again, and Bash at the Beach 96, and Starrcade 1997. We can do the same thing all over again, but now we have Hulk Hogan involved, and I was like, oh dear God, knowing how Hulk, his thoughts on history and timelines and just all that, I was like, oh, this is going to be awful because aggregators are not going to be able to handle this. They're just going to post whatever Hogan says, whatever random lie Hogan says is going to be posted as a headline. And so I was really fearful about a podcast. I was equal parts like fearful and also like, oh, this is going to be fun because like I could make a living just sitting here and telling you, listening to every episode of the show and telling you all the things that Hogan said that were lies or not right or incorrect, or you know what I mean? I could have done that, but then I was also thinking, oh God, but the aggregators are going to pick up on all this and this is going to be awful. Thank God that's not it. That's not what this is. It's not a podcast. It is, and by the way, Hogan has been this week we're going to talk about that. His lies are in overdrive as per usual because he's got mics again. But what this is a startup quote unquote pro wrestling thing where he's going to take amateur wrestlers and amateur wrestling and pro wrestling-ize it a little bit.
It's freestyle. It's professional freestyle wrestling.
Right. So it's going to be...
It's a shoot. It's professional wrestling, but it's a shoot. That's the best way to put it. So
it's college wrestling, but they're professionals, but they're going to be bells and whistles and promos and entrance videos.
Freestyle wrestling specifically. Look, it's never going to work. It's been tried.
Oh, no. This is, and to my... Real quick, I'll get my point, and then you can go. Is this thing exists because they want TKO to buy it? I think is what they're going to do. They want to at least get
or somebody to buy it.
They want to get close enough to the point where they run a show, or like you said, actually run a show, close enough to the point where they can maybe get into the room of some TV executive at some point, close enough where it gets enough buzz that somebody just says, you know what, let's just fucking buy this thing, just in case it works, or just to get them out of our hair, let's just buy it. TKO seems like the most likely thing. I like that would be my guess, is that they're hoping and praying that TKO, which is doing a big work right now and just trying to make sure that they are the only game in town in terms of all combat sports. Like they're as you said, they're going into Brazil and doing more stuff there. They're trying to get into boxing, like TKO was trying to get global boxing. Obviously pro wrestling with WWE. I think that the ultimate goal, which I don't know if that's going to even be successful, I think the ultimate goal is scare TKO enough for them to just say, you know what, let's just buy these guys out and call it a day.
Maybe. I think it's more what I heard Hogan say today. He was like, brother, reality shows aren't so hot anymore. If you dig what I'm saying, it's live sports that they're all buying, brother. And he's right. Live sports is where it's at. It's one of the things that aren't dying on TV.
Correct.
Right. Everything. So live sports and then selling the rights to those live sports. It's the same reason Vince McMahon tried to restart the XFL. It's the same reason Dwayne Johnson bought the XFL from Vince McMahon and merged it with the UFL. And ironically enough, Rich, it's the same reason Tony Khan got into pro wrestling, right? Because he saw where the landscape was going with sports rights, and he happened to also love pro wrestling, and it's something he always wanted to do, and he obviously had the capital to do it, but he saw the perfect storm of sports rights are increasing rapidly, and the bubble doesn't seem to ever burst, and there's a batch of available stars that I believe can make this thing work. The Elite and Chris Jericho and later John Moxley and all of that. So ironically enough, I think Eric Bischoff is trying to do exactly what Tony Khan did 5 years ago. And unlike Tony Khan, who Eric claims is making every possible mistake you can make, and if you're not growing, you're dying, Tony was successful in short order more than any other wrestling startup in at least the last 40 years of American pro wrestling, and Eric Bischoff is going to fall on his face, and it's not going to work at all. And what's crazy about that is even when that happens, he's probably still going to be able to do these shitty podcasts with his alleged expertise, and there's probably still an audience of people who will listen to him like he knows what he's talking about in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. And what have we been saying from day one of this guy with 83 weeks? And with now turning to the AEW grift, he knows nothing. He's a complete fraud. There is no bigger fraud than Eric Bischoff,
right? With a pile of failed business ventures behind him
and specifically pro wrestling startups that never work. Who is clamoring for, first of all, anything involving Hulk Hogan right now? What business person would want to do business with Hulk Hogan at the absolute nadir of his popularity? He's never been less popular and more hated than he is in this moment. Hulk Hogan can't even get cheered in front of a WWE crowd. They'll cheer anybody. He gets booed out of the... They can't book... WWE can't book Hogan because he gets booed out of the building. That's mistake number one. What businessman would want to do any kind of business with Hulk Hogan? That's number one.
There's a very small sliver of people that I think still... like Hulk Hogan, but that is not a sustainable business model.
Not enough to say. Yeah, how's the beer doing? How's All American beer? You see that? You see that all over your show? Okay.
I've never once seen it. Never once seen it anywhere.
And number two is, who the fuck is clamoring for freestyle wrestling with entrances? which is what this is going to be.
And backstories.
Who's clamoring for
and
this?
Stories. We're going to have backstories about the
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Good for Eric. He has a chance to put his money or somebody else's money. He has a chance to put somebody else's money where his mouth is and prove that Tony Khan doesn't know how to tell stories, but he does. Here's his chance. Tell your stories, Eric. We all know this is going nowhere. We all know this is going to lose a lot of money for somebody not named Eric Bischoff or Hulk Hogan. And let's be honest, that's probably why he's doing this, because someone's going to pay him to do it. Someone's going to put the money up. We don't know all the details yet, but he doesn't have any money, first of all. So we know it's not him putting the money up. This is a guy who's 70 years old and is in such dire straits that he had to take a job selling subprime mortgages. I mean, he doesn't have any money. We know all of his business failures. We've gone over a number of them. So it's not his capital that he's putting up. I doubt Hogan's putting his capital into this. Hogan's just being paid to put his name on it.
Yeah, and Hogan's not a guy. One thing that you could say about Hulk Hogan, he has very rarely invested his own money in a lot of these things. A lot of these are, he will sell Hulk Hogan to you to put on something. You know what I mean? So I would almost guarantee that there's no capital. There's no actual. Terrible Leia is not putting any of his capital into this thing at all. He's more than willing to be the public face of it. There's absolutely zero chance that he is putting capital into this.
They're just paying him for it. He's just the endorse. He's endorsing it is all it is. If he would have been home that day and hadn't missed the damn phone call, it would have been the Hulk Hogan grill instead of the George Foreman grill. We all know that.
Of course, yeah.
That's his legitimate story, by the way. He didn't happen to be home that day when they called. And the people said, darn it. The Hulkster didn't answer.
Yes.
Now what are we going to do?
They have a big yellow pad. They just scratched off Hulk Hogan and said, all right, call George Foreman. Let's find who's next on the list.
They rubbed their chins and they said, since Hulk wasn't home.
Who's next?
And George Foreman just happened to be home, and he answered the phone, and they pitched it, and the rest is history. Now we all have one of those in our house. That's a George Foreman across the lid. So, I mean, Hogan's just being paid to put his name on the thing so it gets some attention, and he goes out there and does the media rounds, which today he had an interview up, and he said that he was Brock Lesnar's first opponent when Brock came back from the UFC.
Yeah, who knew? Yeah.
Which was interesting because you do the math on that and you're like, that was what, 2012? That doesn't
2012.
It
doesn't even work for Brock's first run. It doesn't even work for Brock post OVW because Brock faced numerous people before he faced Hulk Hogan. But
look, Hogan's memory.
I think Hulk Hogan was a member of the TNA family in 2012, but
maybe a little confused, but let's give him a pat. Look. He noted he wrestled many great freestyle wrestlers. He mentioned Kurt Angle. I think he did, in fact, wrestle Kurt Angle, maybe, possibly.
You know what? Hold on a minute. I don't know. I don't remember if he ever did face Kurt Angle.
Fact check.
Yeah, let's fact check the Hulkster. This is what I'm saying. If he actually had a podcast, you could do a whole.
This is all it would be. Yeah,
we could go. We could have a weekly show where we go. All right, Joe. So minute 1, Hulk Hogan said the following, and you could say, "No, I just looked it up. He did not, in fact." Have that. Okay, he wrestled. He wrestled Kurt a couple times. Yeah, numerous times. King of the Ring 2002. King of the Ring 2002.
He said he wrestled Kurt Angle when his eyes would roll back into the back of his head, and I'm like, are you thinking of Yuji Nagata or Kurt Angle? What are you talking about? When did Kurt Angle's eyes roll into the back?
I don't remember
maybe
that. I don't
was
really
it the
remember
Perk
that.
Angle era? Maybe there was a lot going on with Kurt, but he also mentioned a third amateur wrestler that he mixed it up with. Are you ready for this one? Benjamin Shelton.
Oh, yeah. Who can forget? Benjamin X. Shelton. Yeah, Benjamin Shelton.
Benjamin Shelton.
That's a pretty good name. That's a good name. Someone could use that. Benjamin Shelton.
He remembered that match so vividly that he thinks the guy's name is Benjamin Shelton. Now, him, I don't think he wrestled. Maybe in a tag or something. But,
yeah, I'm looking that up right now. That one feels pretty dubious. That Team Angle and Hulk Hogan would have crossed paths.
Benjamin Shelton. Yeah,
that one I'm struggling with.
But yeah, no, this has 0% chance of succeeding. 0%. This doesn't even have a 1% chance of succeeding. Nobody wants this.
Team Angle, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, and The Big Show defeat Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, and Mr. America.
Oh, well, there you go. He was probably thinking all of that match when he was thinking of all these people.
Yes, he was thinking of
the
June 24, 2003 SmackDown from Madison Square Garden. Was probably what he was thinking of.
Yeah. No Haas Charlie mentioned, though. He didn't mention Haas Charlie. Just Benjamin Shelton. But and no Russ Haas either. That's the dead one, right? Russ.
That was Dup. Yeah. Right.
Not Dup. Not
No.
the Dups.
No, you're right. Yes, Ross. Yes, I think you're right. Haas. I forget now.
The Haas brother that passed away was Charlie and Russ, right? Russ was the other one.
I think so. Yeah, Russ Haas.
Yeah. You're thinking of the Dups, which were another dark match tag team of that same era.
I was mixing up my Dups and my Haas's. Yeah.
And listen, if you went to a WWE TV taping in 2002, you were getting a heavy dose of the Dups.
Oh yeah,
and the Haas's, maybe against each other even. But look, this has been tried before. I don't know if people remember this, but what I guess you would call the second UFC boom, I would say the first boom would be the human cockfighting era, the pre-Zuffa era, where, Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie, and the true mixed martial arts, where you'd have boxers in there with one glove and fucking, guys just getting choked out by the jiu-jitsu practitioners with minimal effort. And then there was the second UFC boom, which would have come with The Ultimate Fighter in 2005.
Right? I missed that first boom. That first boom was incredible when it was just like,
it was a lot of fun.
Let's see what the best fight discipline is. The best fight discipline. Is it Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu? And it was always Jiu-Jitsu. Always.
Or is it this fat guy, Tank Abbott? Which is it?
It was always Jiu-Jitsu until everybody realized maybe it should only be Jiu-Jitsu. And then it just only was. It's like, I don't know, this judo guy, he's pretty good. It's like, nope, he's choked out by the Jiu-Jitsu guy yet again. It's like, what about the boxer with one glove? Nope, the Jiu-Jitsu guy yet again has tapped him out. And okay, we're done here. So
the Don Fry, Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie
just
era.
The freak shows. Yeah, where you're like, look at that guy. Look at that fucking big ass Taekwondo dude. Like, what's up? Yeah, and he just fucking got destroyed every time. I was like, oh man, all right.
But anyway, so during the second UFC boom, obviously there were a million different mixed martial arts startups trying to take advantage of that. Much like today, there's still people trying that. But one of them was I think it was called Real Pro Wrestling. It was called Real Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, Daniel Cormier was actually an early Real Pro Wrestling guy.
Probably the only person of any name value that came out of it. But, and it obviously flopped instantly. I mean, it's just people have seen too much. They're not going to be patient enough to watch freestyle wrestling without striking or anything like that. And there's not enough fans of freestyle wrestling who are to make this a sustainable project. And the ones that exist are going to be more wrapped up in college wrestling because that's what they like, and it's just not, it has no chance of success. Zero. No, I don't care how many entrance themes you give them and backstories you tell. And it's just not going to work. And it's going to be fun to watch flop. And it's going to be maddening in a way when people still look to Eric Bischoff as some kind of expert in business, television business, pro wrestling, whiskey, any of these things. But yet he's still going to be looked upon as someone who knows what they're talking about or someone who can provide any kind of perspective, because Nitro beat Raw in ratings for a year and a half, which really, in hindsight, what was that worth? What did that really matter? At the end of the day, it was a meaningless dick measuring contest at the end of the day. And, and he had to sell everything out even just to do that. So, you got any other thoughts on this other than it has zero viability? And
it's got almost no viability, I think, whatsoever. And the third guy involved in this is Izzy Martinez, and he does have a background in wrestling, and he's trained some MMA guys as well. So he's a well-known name, but it's not. He's also has some sketchy things in his past as well. Not everything has gone perfectly for him, but I think this thing exists, like I said, to hopefully get bought by somebody is what they're hoping. Now, I don't know that anybody's going to do that because there's really no reason to buy it out for anybody. They're hoping there's two things. They either get bought out or they get a sweetheart TV deal.
I think they're looking for the TV deal. Do you think that Eric – here's the question, though. Do you think he knows this is going to fail and he's just taking the money from whoever's paying him to run this and getting his boy Hogan another payday to endorse it?
No.
Or do you think he truly thinks he can make it work?
I think he thinks he can make it work. I think what happened
then he's even dumber than we think he is.
I agree. Because I think this most recent NCAA finals was like a very well-known, like the Gable Steveson.
Every year going back decades.
I know. But I think they particularly bought into that one because they probably went there or somebody went there and saw it and said, "Oh crap!" Because it was a big time moment. It was Gable Steveson going to the finals and he was there against not necessarily an underdog. That's the other problem too. Everybody says like this guy that beat him is like an underdog and the other guy who beat him is like an incredible wrestler. And,
but allegedly it was a massive upset.
It was and it wasn't.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah,
but
I talked to guys that know, and they're like, no, I mean, it is an upset because Steveson felt like he was untouchable, but the guy that beat him is also fucking incredible. It just happened to be Stevenson's on like, this pedestal, and the other guy was, not far behind, but he wasn't on that pedestal. So it was an upset in the sense that Stevenson never got taken down all year. Like, he was just fucking dominated. I have a guy at work who's a big time wrestling guy, and if you need any other wrestling insights, JD Olivia from Mike and JD show can help you out as well. By the way, he is hopefully going to write something about this as well. He is digging into it right now. He's actually interviewing people that are potentially involved in this project. So he'll have something up at voiceofwrestling.com pretty soon, because if he'll know more than anybody, and he's I trust him more than anybody. And he's like, no, this shit's fucking terrible. It's not going to work at all. like, you know what I mean? He knows wrestling, and he knows both, right? He knows pro wrestling and he knows freestyle / amateur wrestling. And he is like, no, this thing is not going to work at all. It's been tried 1,000 times. But I think they saw those finals and saw how big the crowd was and saw how big the upset was and thought, all right, here we go. This is right. This is a market that hasn't been touched. Live sports are still important. These streamers are still fighting for live sports, yada, yada, all that sort of stuff. Let's go for it. Let's try it. I think they actually do think this is going to work, but I think anybody with any business sense knows that there's a reason that this market has been available. There's a reason that this market has not been touched. There's a reason that TKO is not getting in this market. There's a reason why WWE never got in this market. There's a reason that so many other people involved in combat sports have kind of been hands off and said, you know what, we'll leave that to the college ranks. I think they saw that. I think they see the NIL money, and I think they see enough things to say, hey, this is the time to strike. I just don't think it's the time to strike, and it never is the time to strike. So, I don't know. Yeah, they're hoping for that Sweetheart TV deal, and I just don't know if they're going to get it. Because we say this too. We also say that it's never been better for live sports, but it's never been better for like the leagues that can really prove that they're viable. Because a lot of wrestling companies have been sitting there waiting for TV deals, and they don't come. How long has Tony Khan been saying, yeah, we're shopping Ring of Honor for a TV deal? And it never comes.
And he's a proven winner.
Right. He's a winner who has this brand that is good. TNA, we know for a fucking fact that those guys have been trying to get some money and it never happens. And MLW, talks all the time about shopping around for TV deals, and they never get anything. And even WWE, when they're trying to do Evolve or whatever, it's on fucking Tubi, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted to buy that thing. They had
Corgan too. Corgan can't
get anything. So it's like, and a lot of these weird MMA leagues, these secondary MMA leagues, are just stuffed on these random ass networks that you don't even know. So the idea that it's like, because that was true, like 10, 15 years ago, that was true. That you could say, hey, we have this live sport property, and CBS would come calling. And hell, look at the TV deal that Strikeforce was able to get. Look at the TV deal that some of these other MMA leagues, these secondary MMA leagues, were able to get. Look at the TV deal that TNA was able to get all those many moons ago. Like that, I think I'm not saying the bubble burst, because the bubble obviously didn't burst, but I think everybody has sort of put all their money in the NBA, the NFL, MLB. It's a little bit. MLB's not having the best time of it either. WNBA has now grown a little bit, so they're actually getting viable TV deals. Formula One is hoping to get a viable TV deal, but that remains to be seen.
Well, they're going backwards, aren't they? They have a chance of signing a lesser deal.
They possibly do. ESPN basically said, we're good. It's because it peaked. That's their assumption is this peaked, and we're not going to pay we're not going to pay for past performance. They're doing like the free agent sports thing of like, no, we're not going to pay you for what you guys did 2-3 years ago. We're going to pay for what we think you guys are going to do.
We think you've peaked. We think you've peaked. Right. It became a fad like poker. We compared it to poker directly. Right. Where at some point it peaked, and now it's going to exist on some level but less than what it was. Maybe when do you think that peaked? About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago. Yeah. There was a really, really hotly contested championship a couple years ago, and that's when it peaked. And from then on, it's been sort of trickling. No one wants to wake up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. I mean, 9 a late race. That's a late one, brother.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Whatever fucking time it's like, to me, that's one of the biggest barriers they have but it's European based, right? So it's,
Yeah.
you know,
they do good numbers in the people that are in the bubble, but yeah, their numbers, if you look at the actual ratings, have been pretty meh, and that's why ESPN basically left the table and said we're good.
It peaked.
And we don't need it. So that brings up a lot of interesting questions. That yes, that bubble is still there. That bubble is still there for a lot of these sports leagues to grab from, but the secondary leagues, not really. And I know that they think that they're going to be the quote unquote market leader in this one little niche, but that niche is just never. I mean, shit. Even those we're talking about how incredible the NCAA championships were. I think you could just stream those on NCAA.com. Like, I don't even think they were available on TV networks.
No, I think ESPN airs it.
Do they? Okay.
Almost someone in the chat will know.
Yeah,
for sure,
I don't even remember. I don't even.
Because here's the thing. It always overlaps with March Madness. So it kind of gets lost in the shuffle hype-wise from that standpoint because everybody's watching basketball. But I think I'm almost positive that ESPN airs that every year.
Okay. Probably for pennies, though. It's probably not much.
I'm sure it's not a significant money deal. And again, it's really that only the finals draw. No one's watching college wrestling during the season. It's just that one event. And I guess maybe some of the conference finals might do okay, but not in significant numbers that were. The point is,
well, and consolidation. Speaking of college, too, consolidation of these conferences too, because some of these conferences were not able to get the sweetheart TV deals that they were getting 10, 15 years ago or whatever, and that's led to a big, of people jumping to, okay, the SEC is getting a giant TV deal, so we're just going to go to the SEC, and the Big 12 and the ACC and Pac-12 or whatever, they're struggling, so fuck that, we're just going to abandon ship. We're a big-time school. We want to make big-time money. We'll go with the SEC. They're getting the big-time TV deals. We'll go head over with them, and it's been a big part of transforming college sports as well. So I don't know that the money is there as much as they think it is. It's there, but it's there for the big dogs.
Hogan specifically mentioned some pro volleyball league that I never heard of.
Well, he mentioned the same company is running that thing. The Left Lane Capital.
Okay, well then there you go.
But hold on a minute. How much is the fucking no?
That's what I'm saying. He mentioned some kind of Shaun White snowboarding league or something.
Left Lane Capital is backing Shaun White snowboarding and pro football, whatever the fuck. But do you know anything about Shaun White snowboarding league?
No, I never heard of it until Hogan mentioned it today. Right. That's my point. Like, his explanation was they're angling for the television rights deal. I mean, that came straight from Hogan's mouth. And then he mentioned those things specifically, which you're now telling me that it's the same parent company. And which shows that they haven't been very successful. Who's airing this stuff? Where is it? And how much money are they getting for it?
Yeah, let me see. Because there's the Snow League. That's the Shaun White thing, the Snow League. Let me see how I can watch the Snow League.
There's big money in these properties, brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, is there? I don't know that that's true.
They got $15 million in funding. I know the Snow League got that.
That's not, well, that's just someone losing $50 million. That's just someone, that's just someone losing $50 million. What did they get in rights fees? That's what I want to know.
So far, not finding out how I can watch FAQs. Let's see. How do I? Okay, so I can go to live. The Snow League events. All right, for fans tuning in from the United States, NBC Sports will present Season 1 events of the Snow League live on Peacock with encore presentations on NBC. But
okay, the Snow League media rights deal. Does that give you anything?
Good luck. Yeah, I don't know.
It gives some articles. I don't see any dollar figures. Forbes. Let's see if Forbes has it here.
Apparently it already happened. So March 7th and March 8th of 2025 is when the Snow League happened. So
wait, it was one event?
I guess so, yeah. That was event 1 of the Snow League, yeah.
Well, they didn't make their $50 million back. I can promise you that.
I don't think so, no.
They'll
be back December 4th through the 6th at the Yongding Secret Garden Resort in China. So
this is not a league, it's just snowboarding events.
Yes, they have 4 events listed. One is in Aspen, that was the one we talked about. Then they have China in December. Then in February, they go back to Aspen, February of 2026. And then event number 4, they go to Switzerland in March of 2026. And that's all we have for.
All right, so I see Sports Business Journal, Forbes, they all have the same basic multi-year media rights agreement with NBC and Peacock, but there's no dollar figures attached anywhere aside from what you're saying, like the funding. The league is backed by $4.5 million seed funding led by different Capital Ventures. It's someone's losing a lot of money. What do you think NBC's paying to air this on Peacock?
Yeah, probably not much.
What about the other stupid thing? What's this volleyball league?
LOVB Pro, the volleyball league. They have a international media rights deal with ESPN signed on May 9th, 2024. ESPN with an additional.
Any dollar figures in these articles?
Not that I've seen.
Okay, yeah.
And DAZN will also air some of their matches as well. If it's on DAZN, it's trust me, it's not going very well. But
yeah, I see the articles now too. CNBC, Forbes, and there's no dollar figures in any of them, which tells you it's nothing. And that's what this thing's going to be. They'll get some low-level deal, maybe, to air on someone's streaming service or something, and it'll be a money loser. I mean,
yeah, like CBS will pick it up and air it on Paramount or something like that. You know, it's some random, and that we'll pretend that's a big deal. You know, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan secure TV rights deal with CBS, and then it's like, you know, parentheses Paramount Plus streaming, or you know.
Yeah, this League One volleyball airs on ESPN Plus, and you see that article a few months ago with ESPN Plus, where outside of the simulcast that they have on there from ESPN and ESPN2, the other events on ESPN Plus average like 175 viewers each or something
it's just like you watching bad college basketball from the SWAC.
Not even because they have everything on there. They have college softball,
college baseball. I look at it because my guide will show that. It'll show all like the ESPN Plus stuff, and I'm like, who's watching like Norfolk State and like, you know, what are you softball at like 7:45 on a Friday? Like
League One volleyball. No one's watching this.
No,
it's none of these articles have any dollar figures attached. Now the League One volleyball, they got $100 million in funding.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people are willing to lose money on shit like this. Yeah, they've raised $160 million in investments. You got Candace Parker involved, Amy Schumer. Oh, there's apparently a women's volleyball league.
It is, yeah.
Lindsey Vonn. So they got a bunch of big ticket investors. Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman. Man, people love throwing their money away, huh?
Yeah.
Can Caitlin Clark play volleyball?
No, unfortunately
no?
not.
Well, okay.
She's probably
well, then
okay. She probably can play a little bit. I'd bet.
All right. Well, short of that, I don't, or some star emerging, and no one cares.
No.
It's so hard for a new sport to break through in this culture.
Think about the WNBA in this country. It took the WNBA, and they're not, and the success of the WNBA is something that, you know, it is a live ticket success recently. It has become finally turning the corner. But you got to remember, the WNBA has been around for 25, 30 years now at this point, and lost massive amounts of money in those years.
There's like 10 dead franchises in its history.
Yeah, had the NBA not just decided that we're going to bankroll this thing out of the kindness of our heart for years and years and years and years, it would have been gone. If this thing was if there were just normal investors and people that actually relied on it to make money, the WNBA would have been dead by like 1999 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been gone.
Yeah, of course.
Then.
Of course.
But the NBA propped it up for years and years and years and years, and that you know, sticking their neck out for that has now sort of, kind of, for the first time ever, turned the corner in the last couple of years.
And you know what? We'll see long term. I'm still not.
But it took a
generationally
generationally great women's basketball player that had swagger and personality and all that sort of stuff to get it in the, you know, to get that arrow pointed up. Really,
they kept it alive and were willing to eat all the losses until a generational star came on board, and now we'll see. I mean, you know, we'll see if it keeps growing. It's that's the thing. And if you take Clark away, it'd still be in the same state that it's in.
Of course, yeah.
It's all Clark. I don't care what anybody says. It's all Clark. We all know it's all Clark. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not convinced that this is the launch point for the WNBA becoming, you know, joining the Big Four as some big ticket, you know, massive sports league. I'm not. It could happen. I'm not convinced it's going to. I need more data than one season. And look, she's the, like, you look at these attendances of, and this is way off the beaten path, and we'll get back to wrestling. But you look at the attendances of a lot of these WNBA teams, and they draw 10 or 12,000 when Clark comes to town, and they're drawing the same 3,000 or 2,000 that they draw before Clark entered the league. That's not really growth. That's one person carrying everything. So that's why I'm not convinced, because what happens if people get tired of Clark? Then we're right back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
But that is look, the bottom line is, this wrestling deal doesn't have a Caitlin Clark.
Right. It does relate, because we're talking about secondary sports leagues and the struggle. And
you need a star. Bottom
and how
line.
hard it is to get up to that level. And you might think that you have a star, but look at Gable Steveson was a fucking zilch. WWE thought they had a star in Gable Steveson, and they should have probably, but the guy's a fucking zilch. Yeah. He's great at wrestling, but he's a fucking zilch. He's got nothing behind him. Plus, there's other factors involved with Cable Steveson as well that make him pretty tricky to promote and have as your tippy top star. And short of him, like, who's the guy that beat him? Joe, do you remember the guy who beat him in the NCAA finals? Off the top
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
A couple weeks later, I don't remember the guy's name.
No, I don't. I just know he beat him. I know,
and that's really the bottom line.
That's really the bottom line. Was it Wyatt Hendrickson was the guy's name? Maybe, if I think about it.
That sounds familiar.
But that's me, who, I kind of follow this thing from a bit of a but yeah. Otherwise, nobody knows. You're normal. No, it wasn't Wyatt Hendrickson. I don't think. Was it? Yeah, it was. It was Wyatt something. It was Wyatt Henderson. Yeah,
Wyatt Henderson, right?
Hendrickson, I believe was. His name.
Okay, huge star, Wyatt Hendrickson.
right. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Henderson. I don't know. But to our point, we know Caitlin Clark. Right. And it took somebody of that ilk to raise the WNBA to finally get above where it was. And the idea that you need a star. You need a star. You need a lot more than just, hey, it's college wrestling. And
we've wasted way too much energy on this already. It has no chance.
Well, hopefully this is the last we'll talk about it. They have some event scheduled late August, I think.
That'll be their one and only.
Yeah, I think.
And they'll get, you know what? They might get some low-level deal like that volleyball league got and the Shaun White thing got that doesn't pay any money. But that's just to hang on until you hopefully do find a deal that pays you money. But you're not going to deliver numbers without a star, and without the numbers, you're not going to get the money. So we know how this ends.
Right.
With Kevin Durant and Lindsey Vonn and Candace Parker all losing their money is how it ends.
Yeah. running out of their base capital, and then, hoping that another investor comes in, and then no other investors come in, and then quietly it disappears.
People are making a good point in the chat too. Freestyle wrestling is not even the most popular amateur style of wrestling. People prefer the other styles of amateur wrestling to freestyle.
That's
wrestling.
true. I always forget this is just strictly freestyle, right?
Right. It's freestyle wrestling is what it's being marketing as.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch Bischoff. But he's smart. I think he's smart enough to know it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt his rep. He can stay right on that podcast circuit, and people will still consider him an expert on wrestling business matters. And this will be his fourth, at minimum, failed pro wrestling company.
Right. Including other stints where he's had leadership roles in these companies too, and it has not worked either. You know what I mean? Like not just startups, but also like running the show in TNA and being a big part of them, and them not doing anything and it being awful and making horrible decisions that end up putting them back many years after, it not even getting out of catering on SmackDown and WWE. It's just one after the other. But people, Eric, you did it. This guy never did it. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, he did. He's doing it right now. Like the Twitter replies are incredible. It'll be Bischoff be like, Tony's never been in the weeds like I have. And it's like, you tell him, Eric, you have. And it's like, he's in the weeds right now. He's actively in the weeds. You were in the weeds a long time ago, and then you failed miserably at the weeds. What the fuck are you talking about? But these people, they love him. Yeah, you tell him, Easy. He didn't beat Vince McMahon for 83 weeks. It's just the best. And then it's Hogan. The best part about this is we're going to get Hogan quotes. And if this week has been any indication, they're just going to keep getting better. This is the man who created Pride, who fought Brock Lesnar after his first MMA after UFC. So good. That's my favorite of all the Hulk Hogan lies. And there are so many of them that are so good. My favorite is with a straight face on the Joe Rogan show saying, I basically created Pride, brother. And Joe Rogan's like, no, you didn't. Because he doesn't know that he's got that guy in front of him. Like, he knows nothing about Joe Rogan, right? Hulk Hogan has no idea of his background, knows nothing. So when he's sitting there and telling him, brother.
Yeah, I watched that clip. Hogan tried to say that they wanted him to fight in Pride and that he fought in Pride. He had no clue that Joe Rogan is like an MMA historian and knows the sport inside and out. So Rogan immediately pushed back and was like, hold on a second. And he started like, he knew it was bullshit. Hogan then sensed that he was caught, right? And he was like, oh shit, I'm in over my head. This guy actually knows what he's talking about. And quickly reverse coursed and changed the topic. Like he went in a completely different direction, hoping Rogan wouldn't keep. And it was one of those situations where Rogan knew
I got him.
Hogan was he knew he was full of shit, but didn't want to embarrass. You ever been in that situation where you know someone's lying, but you don't want to embarrass them because it's not worth it for what? Like you sense that that's what was happening. And he let Hogan direct the conversation in another direction so he wouldn't be forced to call this man out face to face for lying to his face. It was so awkward. The clip is out there. It's like a 90-second clip or something on YouTube. Good. And it's just he had no idea he was talking to someone who knows the history of MMA inside and out, and you weren't going to slip that past them. But Hogan has told that Pride story before. Some versions of it is like he started Pride. They came to him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, brother, they talked to me about it, and I was like, yeah, brother, that sounds good. Let's do it. And then we started Pride fighting, but I couldn't do it because I got injured, so I couldn't fight in the first Pride. But yeah, brother, I was at the table. We were coming up with it together, and it's like, what? Nobody works.
So for posterity here, before we move on, we have other people in the chat saying that freestyle is more popular than Greco-Roman. So, Rich, that's just going to save you corrections for the next week.
Got it.
So I just wanted to get that out there so all the amateur wrestling fans don't, because Rich gets these corrections and it drives him crazy because he gets corrected if we make a minor mistake, which, you talk for 3 hours a week and you talk behind the paywall another couple hours. You're going to make minor mistakes here and there. Rich will get these corrections and they don't stop coming, and it drives them insane. So the moral of the story is if we make a minor mistake, please keep sending all of those corrections to Rich because I love watching him.
Yeah, please message me on Discord or Twitter. And yeah, please also say, hey, I don't know if anyone's done this yet, but and then give me the correction.
Frame them that way.
Like at least 6 days after it too is always the best time too to do it. About 5 or 6 days after the show airs. Say,
I want you to assume. Here's the thing. Assume you're the first person to catch the mistake and make sure that you let Rich know.
Right.
Because I promise you, he loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
Adore it.
He definitely doesn't melt down in private chats about it. That never happens. So he in fact, he says he often tells me how much he appreciates the corrections.
I love him.
That he
every
gets
time, every new one that comes in, I'm like, thank you. Yes.
Yes, he just loves it. He loves how conscientious you all are and how detail oriented all of the listeners are. And except for the swink. The swink, you keep correcting me. You don't concern yourself with Rich. The swink, you are my personal corrector. Okay? I don't want you cheating on me with Rich. Okay, swink? I know you're out there somewhere. You keep correcting me. Everyone else, keep it coming for Rich. He truly loves it.
I truly appreciate it all. Yeah, all the corrections that come in. So there you go. That's Easy and Hulk Hogan's failed wrestling venture. What's this thing even called?
I don't know if they have a name yet. I don't think they have a name yet.
How do they not have a name? What? It's got to have a name.
Well, Hogan was saying it was tied in with the All-American beer. Maybe it's All-American Wrestling or something. I don't know.
Oh, Real America. It's called
Real American
Freestyle Wrestling. Oh, dear God.
Yes.
And you know what's going to happen is it's not going to go well, and then they're going to try to like kind of make it very American grifty, and then it's just going to go away. You're like, that'll be the last swipe at it. You know what I mean? Like the last attempt is going to be to like, yeah, the woke, this thing's too woke, but we're not woke. It's like, all right, this isn't going to work. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Like the Hail Mary will be like to try to rally the right wing crowd around it.
Right.
And that's not going to work either. They don't want to watch bad sports.
No, right. They want to watch good sports too. Yeah.
No matter what your politics are, you don't want to watch bad sports.
Right.
It's, so that's not going to work either.
Yeah. They'll try to do the NFL and the NBA are too woke, but we're not woke. Like we'll just do, and then it's like,
that'll be the Hail Mary.
Yeah. They'll do
that'll
be
the last
show,
grasp.
That'll be unsuccessful. They'll get bad TV deals. Then they'll go with the woke. No, other sports are woke. And then that's when they're going to buy. And that'll be the last Hail Mary, and then it's out. And then we're done. And then, like you said, 1.5 shows for sure.
Yeah.
Ash Jacob in the chat room goes, I don't know if anybody has told you, but the name of this thing is called Real American Freestyle Wrestling. Thank you. This is what we're talking about. Thank you. Thank you. I also
Rich
love the chat rooms.
that.
The chat rooms are good
that.
too. I love when, because you guys are behind us, I love that, especially while it's going on, giving me corrections, even though by the time you all hear it, we've already corrected it. That I also appreciate that a lot too. So
told you he likes it. He just admitted he likes it. Just keep doing it.
blow those chats up. Be sure to do that. But all right. Let's get to some other wrestling topics here today. We're going to cover a bunch of different things. Major free agent news. A lot of big names and not so big names, but some big names in the wrestling world are moving or leaving, and a lot of things going on in that world. Possibly more coming this weekend as well. A lot of smoke coming out of WWE that there might be some releases coming this weekend as well. We'll see if that ends up happening. MLW and CMLL, that Arena Mexico show, is happening finally this weekend. Tomorrow on Friday, I believe it's happening. So we'll talk about that. New Japan Wrestling Dontaku, 2-night event. Wrestling Dontaku is this weekend. Dragongate has their Dead or Alive show this weekend as well. New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors is coming. And I think the big one, and one I actually want to talk about right out of the gates, if you agree, if you're not fine with this as well, is Noah's Sumo Hall show. The 25th anniversary of Memorial Voyage 2025 in Sumo Hall show, May 3rd, so also this weekend. So a big weekend of pro wrestling. But I think this Noah show, there's a lot of, when we've kind of talked about it and touched on it a little bit, but I think there's a lot of interesting storylines coming out of this show and interesting things for Noah as well. It's a big-time show for Noah, I think. But you cool starting with that one?
You want to start with Noah?
Yeah, let's start with the Noah show, I think.
I was just reading this text message. Apparently, I owe my landscaper $245, so I was just preoccupied with that for a second.
Okay. Is this the guy that never asked you for money, right? Is this the same dude?
Well, okay, not the same guy. He handed off my account to one of his other guys.
And this guy's...
But no. But much like his former boss, he doesn't invoice me until he's come to my house 1,000 times, and then the invoice is $1 million. And I'm like... I'm trying to explain to him, as you're talking about Noah, can you just invoice me after every trip so I don't have to owe you this giant chunk of money every time, and I can just pay you $30 every time that you come? And he's not seeming to understand that. Okay. I don't know.
He wants lump sums after 2.5 months of landscaping.
Yeah. I'm like, no, well, I sent it to him. I sent him the $245, but I'm like, look, I would prefer not to send you $250 every time. How about you just invoice me, come to my house, cut my grass, send me an invoice for $30. You know what I mean? Don't wait 6 months. This goes back to January.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but that's exactly what the other guy used to do. But the other guy didn't care. He'd be like, oh, it's okay, Mr. Joe. Just send me, $70 now and take care of the rest when you feel like it. And if you tell me that, I'm going to take advantage of it, So I don't know what's with these landscapers. Why can't they? Why do they want to give you the fat? There got to be people screwing them. There has to be people screwing them.
That seems untenable for sure.
I mean, there's going to be people who are going to be like, dude, I don't have fucking $300 to give you right now. But anyway, so I lost focus. Very unprofessional of me. And he's texting me at 9:30 at night. This information.
He must need money.
I don't care.
He must need money quickly. Maybe he's a little.
Well, he got it. I mean, I just sent it to him, so I don't know. But anyway, what are we starting with here? Noah?
Let's start with Noah. Yeah, let's do the Noah show. I think it deserves it because they're this weekend again from Sumo Hall, streaming on Wrestle Universe. Now, as far as I know, this is not an additional pay-per-view on Wrestle Universe. Now, don't quote me on that. I was going to the website earlier to try to figure it out. It looks like if you just have a Wrestle Universe subscription, this is available to stream. Again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But for everything I saw on the website, it appeared to be that way.
I think it's just on Universe.
Yeah. Which is cool because sometimes they'll do these as special pay-per-views or whatever. But the main event is, I think, the big one that we want to, of course, talk about, and it's OZAWA versus KENTA. Main event, GHC Heavyweight Championship. OZAWA, who's been the champion since the New Year's, literally the New Year, Noah the New Year's show. So from day one of this year, he's been the champion and has really won. He's defended it a bunch of times. He's won a bunch of tag matches. We've talked about his unit, Team 2000X. They just keep piling up wins and piling up titles and doing all those sort of things. And the idea is, and you've kind of flowed this out and we've talked about it a little bit as well, is this the opportunity? Is this the time for you to switch it off and move it over to KENTA? Or do you think OZAWA should beat KENTA again and just continue to go and go and go? Or does he risk just getting too big and then it's like, okay, now there's nobody that can beat him if he keeps the title here and there. So I don't know. I'm fascinated by it because I feel like it's a toss up. I feel like it's a coin flip, and I hem and I haw on which way I would go almost every single time that I think about this match. But where do you land on Ozawa versus Kenta? Who should leave as GHC heavyweight champion?
No, I've been talking about this for weeks. Kenta should absolutely win this match. I think it's a mistake if Kenta loses. Not a mistake that's going to cripple the company or sink the momentum that they have. And they have tons of momentum. They're selling out Cork and every time with Ozawa on top. It's going to be a big test here to run a building like Sumo Hall. And that's the reason that they're bringing in Jun Akiyama to work the undercard, right? That's the reason that they're putting Naomichi Marufuji, who has to be basically forced at gunpoint to get in the ring at this point to actually wrestle a match on this show against Keito Kiyomiya. So that's the reason they're kind of loading this thing up, because they need all the help they can get trying to run Sumo Hall. But I think they're going to do a decent number. And I think that, with Kenta being, returning to the company and being true Kenta, like he may not be true Kenta physically, that those days have been over probably since, if we're going to be honest, when he returned from the 2009 leg injury. He's never really been the same guy, but it really went downhill when he had all of the injuries in NXT. After that, he's been a shell of himself, as we all know. But his aura and his presence is the true Noah Kenta since he's returned to the company. And he's not the version of Kenta you see on the American Indies. He's not the version of Kenta. He's not the Fang Revives Kenta that you've seen in New Japan or the cheating heel that you've seen in Defy or anything like that. And there's a palpable difference in his performances and the way that he presents himself and the way that he performs when he's in Noah. He understands that that's what those fans are going to want out of him, or he has deep respect for his connection to the company and how much he meant to it. For whatever the reason, it's the old Kenta from an energy and a vibe standpoint. Same entrance, the old entrance music and everything. So, and it's worked and it's gotten over, and Ozawa's over like crazy. And I think that they have established Ozawa. They've created a star. It's not going to hurt him to lose. And it's time for Ozawa to lose and to do something a little different with him now. We've had him as the GHC champion. We've established the heel unit. He's run through everybody else on the roster. And now here he is against a Noah icon who has returned to the company. And in a lot of ways it's one of the oldest pro wrestling stories that there is. He's here to save the company against this band of heels who have just run roughshod over everybody. And who better to shut this kid up than Kenta? So it's the perfect story. It's the perfect guy to tell it with. And it's the perfect timing, because the period where you need to establish the new star is over, and it was successful. So you have Kenta beat him, and now we get to tell a whole new story with Ozawa. What's he going to be like chasing a champion, trying to get his title back, right? I think the Noah fans are ready for that. So, as soon as they announced this match, my feeling was Kenta should win. And I'm 100% on that. I'm not 90-10. I'm 100% Kenta should win the match.
Did you watch the No DQ preview match that they had?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So now, obviously, with that match, Kenta defeated Ozawa. He, threw him off the top of a ladder, through a table. They were kind of having a no disqualification plunder match. Now, this is obviously not an American wrestling company. Like in an American wrestling company, Kenta would pin Ozawa on the preview match, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck, that means Ozawa's winning." That doesn't necessarily mean that Kenta is now not winning because he pinned Ozawa on that preview tag. But that got me thinking a little bit that, oh man, maybe they are maybe Ozawa might win this thing. Like, I guess there's a difference of what I think should happen and what I think is going to happen. Like, what I think should happen is exactly like you. I think Kenta should go in there. He should defeat Ozawa. He should win the GHC Heavyweight Championship. He should be, and then, you figure out what's the next step for Ozawa. How does he get back to that mountaintop? What does he do with Team 2000X? Like, I think, because we know the long term of Ozawa is also going to be at some point he turns into a babyface and the crowd embraces him a little bit more than they do. But there's you have a lot of more kind of good heel stuff to do with him. So
sure,
I think that's more exciting for sure. But if you're Noah, do you look at these houses and you look at everything going on and saying, fuck, this is not the time to have this guy lose?
No, because like I said, I don't think it's going to hurt the houses at all. I think now he's established as a star and they are established as a hot act. And I don't think a title switch is going to hurt their business. I think that the Noah fans are going to want to see this title switch. Now, here's the thing. If you don't switch the title here and you have some kind of great plan. If Tetsuya Naito comes out from behind the curtain.
Right. That was going to be my next point is after he beats Kenta, it's like, okay, now he's kind of, Noah's not a huge roster, especially of main eventers. And if you go through Ozawa's title defenses and who he's beaten, he's kind of beaten most of the big dogs that you have already. He beat Kiyomiya to obviously win the title. He beat Galeno. He beat Manabu Soya. And he beat Masa Kitamiya. So now if you go through like the true bred like Noah guys or whatever, that's kind of it. That's like, you know what I mean? Like
what you have left are the older guys who they don't really have in the title mix anymore, like Takashi Sagara and Naomichi Marufuji, who they try to keep away. He hasn't beaten Kano yet, but Kano is part of Kenta's stable. It's Kenta, Kano, and Oka Sasaki, or you know, as the top babyface stable right now. And obviously, he hasn't faced any of the guys in his unit like Jack Morris and everything because he's not going to face those guys until somebody turns or he turns or whatever. But yeah, he's gone through a decent chunk of the roster. So it seems too soon to start doing rematches. Like you could have Kiyomiya beat Marufuji and then have him come out, but is that really going to light anybody's world on fire to do Kiyomiya again? If you have a really good idea for the follow-up, again, if you've got Naito, which you wouldn't have had planned when you booked this match, right? Because so or if the plan is to have Jun Akiyama come out and like have Ozawa. Well, yeah, you could have Ozawa to further establish him, beat all these legends.
Right, go through all the legends Kenta. Then. Yeah, he beat Kenta. Now he goes through Akiyama and Marufuji and Sugiura and those guys, yeah.
You know, so if they have a competent plan to follow it up, if it's just, okay, we're going to do Kiyomiya again, or we're going to do Takashi Sagara, or we're going to do Masa Kitamiya for the second time, then to me, it's a mistake because you could have had Kenta beat him and put the title on Kenta and done something different and given Ozawa some different motivations. It just feels like the right guy and the right timing to me. And you know, I'll take it all back if they do have Naito come out from behind that curtain.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have Naito at least a full-time deal or signed to some whatever the hell, you 100% have Ozawa beat Kenta.
But I don't know if they have another. Do they have another giant building book this year? I mean, this is going to be their big show for the year. So
yeah, I don't know what else.
You could always go book one, I guess. You could always go get that done. But when everything has changed, but. Yeah, I don't know. If you're watching the shows like I've been watching the shows and you're feeling the vibes, it doesn't like if you're thinking this is you're right, you're gonna put the belt on Kenta, but you have that other version of Kenta in your head. That's the thing. That's not what this is. I mean, Kenta came in his first match.
Yeah, they see him as they see him differently than this is the guy who's just been slumming it up for the last 6 years in New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is not. They don't think of him as that guy. No,
that's not what he's been doing. I mean, he came in his first match and beat Kano, and that match fucking rocked. I mean, he's not physically what he was, but he's working a different way, and he's back to the Kenta that constantly has a fucking puss on his face. He's always scowling. He never fucking smiles. It's Noah Kenta. And he's an ass kicker. He's just an ass kicker in a different way now because he doesn't have the physical tools that he used to have. And it's gotten over. And I just think it's the right move. But, we'll see what they have up their sleeve. And I'm really curious how the show's going to draw. Because they're drawing everywhere else, especially Korakuen.
Yes,
they're the number one company in Korakuen. I don't know how many people know this. They're the number one company in Korakuen this year in Japan. Even more than New Japan.
That's just full. On that preview tag match, I mean, they're brawling up and down Korakuen Hall. That entire thing is filled. That is filled. All the bleachers.
It's 1,500 plus every time. And it's with Ozawa on top. And, look, All Japan just did 2 carnival shows in Korakuen and did 1,100 and then barely 1,000 for carnival shows. This guy's selling the place out. So I'm curious to see what they can do in a big building like this. With some, they put some help underneath. But how much is Jun Akiyama really worth in 2025? You know what I mean? If this show does well, you're not going to chalk it up to Jun Akiyama.
No, you're going to chalk it up to Ozawa and Kenta.
But you pay him. You pay him you throw him on the show and you pay him whatever he wants. It can't hurt to have Jun Akiyama on the show.
Oh, no. Yeah, it'll help a little bit. Yeah, there's a couple people out there that are going to buy a ticket or two. But yeah, the bulk of the house is going to be Ozawa.
You got to credit the main event, Ozawa and Kenta. If this show draws, it's on them. If it doesn't draw, then they haven't gotten him over enough to fill. Because they're not going to fill the place. But
yeah. And none of those, that'd be nice. But none of those guys None of those guys are in like important matches either. Like Kiyomiya and Marufuji, I guess sort of. They're promoting it as the Arc Legacy battle and a Pro Wrestling Noah 25th anniversary match or whatever. So that one's kind of being, but that's not being asked to draw any sort of house because it's nowhere near the top. It's like 5th from the top or whatever, 6th from the top. And Akiyama, like you said, they're just throwing him into a random tag match with Sugiura against Tetsuya Endo and Owada-san. So it's like not even. These guys aren't, it's not like you're doing the Ozawa Kenta, but you're like, oh, we're fucking terrified. So the national championship is going to be, a guy that we think can draw versus Galeno or whatever. No, it's Saxon Huxley is in the semi-main event. So they're pretty much going with their normal roster for the bulk of the business end of this card.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is for sure. Is that, and if it does well, like you said, then yes, that 100% goes to Ozawa.
And Kenta. You can't, you know what I mean? It's, the main event is what's going to, the horse driving the cart here. Is that the phrase?
Sure. Yeah.
Horse driving the cart it's the main event. Like you said, Galeno versus Saxon Huxley. I mean, no one's paying to see that. Saxon Huxley?
Hold on a minute. No, I'm not paying to see that, but
so Galeno won the tournament.
I'm not paying to see it, but good little match.
Well, because they had Ozawa toss it away. Like, he didn't want that title. Because remember, he won the title for title match. And then Galeno won the tournament. I hate that they did that. I hate these American style storylines in these Japanese companies. But in the case of Noah, the problem is how much can you argue when it's clearly working?
Right.
It's working, so you can't say, but that doesn't mean I don't hate it. I really worry about Japan going down that road where you start devaluing titles the way that American companies have. And then, you turn around and you can't headline Korakuen with a national title match anymore. You know what I mean? Because you've told the fans that it's a title that doesn't mean anything. I used to complain about Naito tossing the Intercontinental title in the air. Mm-hmm. Even though that was his gimmick, and even though his story was he wanted to be IWGP champion, and what is this thing? I still felt that was damaging and something that you don't want to play with that fire, especially when that was a drawing title in that company at one point. That was a legitimate headlining title. So I don't like doing those sorts of angles. And then you come back and you put the title on Galeno. That's fine. You want to build him. You lost his brother. You've got the larger adult son now. I don't have a problem pushing Galeno. I think it's a good idea. The problem is after that title's been essentially thrown in the garbage like Medusa or Jim Duggan finding the TV title in the trash can, it's not you put it on a guy who isn't established and his first challenger is Saxon Huxley.
Yeah,
it's weak. It's really
it's weak. Yeah, for to be the semi-main event of a big time show in Sumo Hall, that is a pretty weak semi-main event. I think the rest.
To be fair, we don't know if it'll go on semi-main.
Yeah.
You get the idea. It's their second most prestigious title.
I think it is. I mean, we got a press release from Noah, and this is the order, and they're pretty.
Well, and there you go.
They're usually pretty good. I mean, Japanese companies usually give you the order that it's going to come in pretty obviously. But we'll see. Yeah, who knows if that's going to actually be the case. The heavyweight tag team titles are also on the line. Jack Morris and Daga, like we're saying, this is the Noah roster, man. They didn't stack this thing up with a bunch of, this is the Noah roster through and through, whether you like it or not. Jack Morris and Daga versus Kano and Oka Sasaki.
I like that match because, again, that's Kenta's unit. They're the top babyface unit right now, and they're going after the Team 2000X's titles on this show. So they're coming for the tag titles, and they're coming for. It's funny. WWE called Omos back to work, and again, that was another title that wasn't lost in the ring because he just had to give it up. I guess technically he gave it to Daga. And then Noah stripped them.
Yes, yeah,
kind
exactly.
of the Andre the Giant, Ted DiBiase.
And they were like, no, fuck that. You can't do that.
Yeah, it was the Andre DiBiase story. But WWE put Noah in a tricky spot because it sure seems like he got called back to work early, and then they haven't booked him. They haven't even booked the guy.
What? No. You must have things mistaken because they don't bench people in WWE.
That's right.
What are you talking about?
That's right.
So there must be something else. Or you're mixing this up or something.
Well, their brain dead fans don't think that they bench people either. It's when Tony Khan does it, it's benching people.
Have you been watching the pretzels that people are like, actually, if you don't have creative for somebody, that doesn't mean you're benching them. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, God, the brainworms. What is wrong with you people? Like,
I know I always get in trouble when I say stuff like this, so I'm going to frame it in a way where it's very specific. The WWE fans on Twitter.com, the first place I saw that was Jesse Collins. I'm going to give him credit, although he probably pulled it from somewhere. But the WWE fans that I see on there arguing about this, I mean, I truly believe WWE has, on average, if you average it out somehow scientifically, the dumbest fans in wrestling comparative to any other company. They have to have the dumbest people who prefer that brand of wrestling, because how is it any different in any way, shape, or form? No matter what name you give them, they have a reason why it's not the same thing, whether it's Omos, whether it's Hikuleo, who's been signed over a year and hasn't wrestled, whether it's Dakota Kai, who's openly complaining that she's not wrestling, no different than the AEW people who do that. Alexa Bliss, right? Wasn't she just fucking gone?
Natalia,
the Wyatt Six.
Natty's bitching and moaning about it as well.
And Wyatt Six, Natty's working Bloodsport. Now she's working NWA because they got nothing for her. And it's like these people are so painfully stupid.
It's a combination of the painfully stupid and also very confident and arrogant in their opinions too.
Yeah,
being like, Dave, it's not the same thing. They don't have creative for Dakota Kai. Get it right. And it's like, what? What is the difference?
Yeah.
If they don't have creative for somebody, that doesn't mean they're benching them. It's like, oh, okay. Kind of does, but all right. Yeah, it's so dumb.
I think they have the dumbest fans.
Yeah.
I think their fans are the dumbest on average. I mean, statistically poor and dumb, right? I mean, every poll tells you. Not like fans of other wrestling companies are sending rockets to the moon. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. But this hobby doesn't attract the best and brightest. Let's be honest about it. But their fans in particular are especially stupid. Mm-hmm. I mean, someone has to say it, Rich. It may as well be me, since they all hate me anyway. I mean, their fans they're truly especially dumb. They're very dumb people. Maybe what were you talking about? Oh, we were talking about Omos.
Yeah.
So that's a tag title match. And the not benched to Omos. I don't know. Then what are they doing with him if he's not benched? Like,
where is he? I can't see him. He's not on the team. He's very big. He doing? He's very big. He's hard to miss. And yet I've been missing him. I haven't seen him. They brought it.
He wasn't hurt. He looked very healthy in Noah. We know he wasn't injured.
Very healthy in Noah. And he had his little run. And then they said, nope, you got to give up the title. That was ahead of the Royal Rumble. We all kind of assumed, he's coming back for the Royal Rumble. And then he didn't come back. And that's been 4 months since then. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I will say one thing about this. Oka Sasaki, who I haven't quite vibed with yet, I think they kind of figured out what he can do, and that's be one half of a tag team. I don't know if he can ever be a singles guy. I never liked any of his singles stuff enough, but I think being a half of a tag team, especially with somebody like a Kano, kind of works for him. I kind of think that might be the long-term thing with Oka Sasaki is to be a tag guy, which is fine. That's okay. I think they had higher hopes for him, obviously, but I don't know. He just never kind of jumped off the page as a singles guy, but I really have enjoyed him in a tag team. So, yeah, I don't mind this too much. GHC Junior Heavyweight title, Eita versus Yohei. I know you love Yohei, so I'll give you the floor here.
You know he's never held that title?
No way. You're fucking lying.
Look it up.
I don't believe you.
Look it up. I didn't believe it either.
That seems impossible. He's had 700 chances to win the title. He's never won it once?
Who's the giant and who's the guy in the giant's pocket? Pickering and
okay. Stu Fulton is the giant, and Mark Pickering is the
Mark Pickering is the guy that lives in his pocket.
Correct. Yes.
Well, one of them said on the broadcast I was watching for one of the shows when Yohei won the number one contendership that Yohei has never won a singles title in Noah, and I paused the fucking show. I was like, this isn't possible. I grabbed my phone and looked it up. Look it up right now.
True, yeah, he's a 7-time junior heavyweight champion, but has never won a singles title in.
Rich, if someone kicked the door down of your house right now, before we had this conversation, put a pistol to your temple, and said, Rich Craich, I'm going to ask you to answer a trivia question.
Very specific trivia question.
Yes.
But you're the man I know that can answer this properly.
If you get this right, I'm going to give you $10 million. If you get this wrong, I'm pulling the trigger and I'm ending your life. And I'm going to actually give you the question first, and you can decide whether you're going to answer me or not. And the question was, has Yohei ever held the GHC junior title? You would be dead.
Oh, the brain matter all over the wall right now.
You would be fucking dead. Those dogs of yours.
Oh yeah, $10 million coming my way.
You'd be rubbing your hands together.
Right.
You'd be
thinking about what I'm spending it on already. I'm like, honey.
You'd be thinking about how you're going to quit your job.
Yeah.
And right now your dogs would be licking up your brain matter off the wall. You'd be fucking dead. And so would I. I'd say, hell yeah, I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah, yes, sir. I would love to answer that question for you.
He's held that title dozens of times.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Dead.
Unbelievable. Okay.
Can you believe it?
I really can't. No, and it looks like he hasn't had that many matches for it either. I looked and it's like all tag matches. It's kind of wild.
It's incredible. I would have guessed at least 6 times that he's never held it once.
As far as I'm seeing, okay, so he has had a couple of chances at it. Okay, so last time he had a chance at it, March of 2024 against Daga, he lost. September of 2022 against Hayata, he lost. August of 2021 against Hayata, he lost. July 2020 against Kotaro Suzuki, lost. November 2019 against Hayata, lost. September 2019 against Hayata, lost. Like I would have guaranteed it one of those Hayata matches he won, right?
I thought for sure he held the title.
Like he had to have won a couple of those. Daisuke Harada, lost. Taiji Ishimori, lost. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Get a little LA Knight there. You're like, yeah.
All right, one sec. You got a weird thing going on with your mic. Let me see if I can.
You got a weird thing going with your mic.
We're all fucked then. All right.
You're crackly over there.
Yeah,
What's
you're
happening?
crackly too. I don't know. Let's see if we can figure this out.
You're crackly and you're high pitched. You sound like you sucked helium.
You kind of do too. Give me a minute here. Let's try to figure this out. One moment, folks. We'll be right back. Try to figure this out. All right, so we're back here on the Flagship. We got Joe back. I'm back. We're all back. So we don't know what happened there, but I think we got it figured out at least for now. So sorry about that. But yeah, let's get right back into it as we were talking about Yohei and never somehow ever winning this title. But he'll have a chance here to finally do it against Eita. And now I kind of am rooting. I don't usually root for Yohei, but fuck, this guy never won this title after all these years. Put it on you. Get on Yohei, right? Love the
no,
Ratels.
fuck him.
Oh,
I hope he loses and retires. How's that?
That works too. All right, Amakusa and Chuta Miyawaki versus Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf. This will be for the GHC Junior Tag Team titles. Amakusa and Chuta Miyawaki are the champions. I love me some Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf, so I'm going to be rooting for them. But yeah, it's a coin flip. I don't really know or care. I mean, do you have any strong thoughts about the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles?
Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf were show stealers for a long time on any big show they were on. So I'm sure this will be a really fun fireworks match. I love Amakusa. I always enjoy watching that guy. So this is actually one of my more anticipated matches on the show for me personally.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. This looks like a good match. And this one, like on paper, looks good, but I think like you're right. You always have to temper expectations, particularly people that don't watch Noah very regularly anymore, is the Arc Legacy Battle 25th Anniversary Noah special match or whatever. Kaito Kiyomiya versus Naomichi Marufuji. Now, this is sort of being advertised, and similar to what you said, that it was kind of like whoever wins this is probably going to get the next shot at the title. But it's also being promoted as the 25th anniversary. It's an old dude in Marufuji versus the new generation in Kaito Kiyomiya. But yeah, like I want to be excited about this match, but Marufuji's just so wash isn't even the right term for him anymore. It's just it's an effort and a care level as well with him. So I don't know. I want to think that this is going to be great, but I don't know. It's probably
okay. How about this angle on this though? Let's say Kiyomiya wins, which he should and he probably will, right? Arc Legacy Battle. And then Kenta wins the title. And then Kiyomiya comes out to challenge Kenta on the basis that he won the Arc Legacy Battle and he beat Marufuji, and now he wants Kenta and he wants the title.
Yeah, it works.
So we're sitting here trying to workshop who they can bring out to face Ozawa next if he wins. Well, what about if Kenta wins? And I think that this match and the winner of this match, which should be Kiyomiya, will be the perfect setup. The story's right there. He beat his former tag team partner. He beat his career-long. You think of Kenta, who do you think of? You think of Naomichi Marufuji.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you think of Ray Jr., you think of Psychosis. You think of who else? You think of John Cena, you think of Randy Orton. And somehow that's going to be a main event title match in 2025.
Somehow in 2025 we have to watch that again. Nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for that. But
it used to be you think of Will Ospreay and you think of Marty Scurll, but I don't know if anybody. I think that one might be
not
scratched
anymore.
out.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. For some wrestlers, there's just someone that you instantly think of. You think of AJ Styles, you think of Christopher Daniels, right? So it's like you think of Kenta, you think of Naomichi Marufuji. So if Kiyomiya beats him and comes out to challenge Kenta, and on the basis of I just beat your boy, it makes a lot of sense, right?
It really does. Yeah, it's not a bad spot for him, and yeah, I would be a mortal lock. If the same guy said, all right, I'm gonna give you one more chance. You blew the Yohei question, but what about this one? Who's winning this match? I think it's be very confident to say Kaito Kiyomiya is winning this match and moving on there. And yeah, then it sort of makes
the good thing about. See, here's the thing. The good thing about Will Ospreay is, even though you have to have him redacted, he's had so many great rivalries. So you could just move it to you think of Will Ospreay, you think of Jimmy Havoc. Oh, wait, that doesn't really work either.
Maybe get out of Britt Rest. Maybe get out of Kyle Fletcher. Let's go to Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, maybe you want to get out of mid to late 2010s Britt Rest. You might want to just
Shingo.
Sure. Yes. Wow. She's Shota. You see Shota trying to use the fucking monkey thing. Oh man,
he got in trouble for that.
Did you see the receipt? Did you see the fucking receipt that Shingo gave him, man?
No. What was?
Oh, he gave him like a chair shot. It had a little pepper on it.
Oh,
a little pepper on it.
I thought you meant a verbal, like he quote tweeted.
No. They got in the ring, and I think he hit him with a chair, or I forget what. I think it was a chair, and it had a little extra.
Yeah,
little extra.
I thought maybe he quote tweeted him with, "Listen here, you charismaless fuck."
Right? He should have. Yeah.
Yeah. You never gonna be anything, charismaless loser. I'm gonna. Yeah, no.
That monkey had more charisma in his arm than you had in your entire life. You fucking choke artist, bitch.
Her, the monkey.
Her. That's right. I forget many of the details of that, which I kind of want to do.
Cora. I assume Cora was a female monkey.
Yeah.
Or otherwise it would have been Jim or Ralph. Right?
Tony the monkey.
Tony the monkey.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. So yeah, maybe let's go to Kyle Fletcher. He's got no skeletons in Kyle Fletcher's closet, right?
Sure.
That we know of, I guess, so far. Kenny, he had those series matches with Kenny. We all know Kenny's good for it, but anyway, yeah. So you're right. Like Kiyomiya wins this match, and then it makes a lot more sense that Kenta defeats Ozawa, and then Kiyomiya comes out again. Like unless, like you said, because I think the only scenario that I would accept is Ozawa wins, and then fucking Naito walks out, and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. We sort of sold it that okay, now we can run through the older guys or whatever, but I don't know. Does that really get your juices flowing that much?
Not at all.
If Takashi Sugiura is like, I pinned Owada-san earlier in the night, and now I'm going for your title, kid. It's like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because he kind of did that. You could, though. You could, if you're going to do that with Ozawa, you could, because he did run through, like, he ran through Manabu Soya and Masa Kitamiya, who are seen as kind of like the dads of the new generation of Noah guys, and he kind of ran through them and said, hey, you guys sucked at training us and stuff.
They're kind of just the mid-card guys more than they're guys that are never going to win. They're never going to win the title is what they are.
Yeah, for sure. But there was also a tinge of like the Masa Kitamiya thing, in following in some of the translations and stuff was like Ozawa was like, you're the head trainer and you didn't teach me shit or something, like, that the kind of the idea of you're in charge of the dojo, but you're not training anybody the right way. You kind of suck, that sort of vibe. But I guess you can go through that same sort of thing with the older guys, but that doesn't seem to be the vibe either. So yeah, I think we've kind of worked it out in our heads, unless you have Naito, obviously. Then Kiyomiya wins and faces Kenta after the show. But running down the rest of the card here, Jun Akiyama, Takashi Sugiura versus Tetsuya Endo and Owada-san, so a couple other Team 2000X guys here. What have you thought of Endo so far in Noah?
I think that he's clearly doing something different. He's not going out there trying to have, top of the DDT card work rate specials, like when he works at the top of DDT. And he probably feels refreshed and revived that he's in a new company doing something new. And he's someone who this probably isn't his final form, right? So there'll probably be more to come with him in there'll be different versions of him in Noah if he sticks here long term. So, I mean, he's a great addition. He's a great addition to the company because he's someone who is a proven star, at least in Tokyo with DDT. And obviously he's a great worker. So if this is his door into the company as part of the heel stable and there's more to come later, then, I'd like to see how it all works out.
Because you feel like, and that was kind of my question, is like you see Tetsuya Endo and he's just kind of a guy. He's like on the roster, he's in tag teams, he's kind of in the background. You're thinking, man, you got that guy. Like that leads me to believe that there is something, like if you ever wanted to, that's another guy that I feel like you could elevate and you could put in main event slots and you could, how much that's worth or whatever. But I haven't seen it yet from him, but you're right. That might just be him sort of chilling out in the background, getting his footing, being a part of this Team 2000X, but he might be one of those guys, like one of the early guys that turns on Ozawa, and you get Endo versus Ozawa or whatever, which sounds like it'd be pretty good and pretty interesting. But yeah, he feels
it's almost like, look, it's a bunch of guys turned and joined this thing, and he was one of them. And you don't have to burn through everything immediately. Team 2000X is gonna be around for a while. They're gonna have people turn against the group. They're going to have people join the group. And there's a lot of steps to come here, so I'm sure guys like Endo and Jack Morris, they might not be in this unit forever. Mm-hmm. There might be plans to have those guys get kicked out of the group or go babyface, or maybe Ozawa goes babyface and these guys stay. So who knows? And I think Endo is someone who I don't think he'll be just a guy on the roster forever. Is my point.
Right. I agree. I think you don't sign a guy like Endo and just keep him, just as a guy on the roster or in tag teams or whatever. Jack Morris, that's another great guy to have Kenta defend the title against too. He loses those tag team titles with Daga, and he can kind of move because you're gonna want to do something with that guy in the next year because we know what the end game of Jack Morris is. That dude's gonna get scooped up by somebody at some point soon. So you want to try to, I think this year you're going to want to try to do something with him as much as you can, whatever that might be, because I think, long term, he's probably going to get scooped up pretty quickly. Hayata and Tadasuke with guest referee Manabu Soya in this match. Interesting.
So, Soya was aligned with Rattel's for a little while there, but then he feels like they weren't. Then he was questioning their loyalty to him. So they've been doing this whole thing and more Western style booking here with the guest referee. And
I'm just excited to see if Rattel's going to have some movement in that stable. Like if a guy turns or leaves Rattel's or joins Rattel. I mean, that all sounds awesome to me. It'd be very fun to see if somebody.
That's what we need. We needed Rattel's back. Thank God we got them back.
Right. Thank God. And now we can finally watch them possibly turn on each other again. Something that you never really got before with Rattel's is Hayata, Tadasuke. Like what? Are they in? Are they out? Are they turning? It's always phenomenal stuff. And then you just got a couple of matches where it's just everybody else on the card. I can go over the guys if you want, but it's just everybody else. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What this means, these are names that Rich isn't confident in pronouncing, so I will take over for this 10-man.
No, they're all normal names. They're all good names. Oh, come on. Who do I not know how to pronounce out of this?
I got your back. I know you're afraid. It's okay. You're scared.
No, it's just 10 dudes. It's just 10 guys. It's everybody else on the roster. But go ahead. Yeah.
Just 10 guys?
That's a great,
major
honestly.
Stars in this match.
well,
you got Black Menso Ray, who I thought was a snake.
Defend major stars for each one of these men.
Well, you got Black Menso Ray, who for years I thought was like a poisonous viper, and it turns out he's a tea kettle.
He's a tea kettle,
which was very disappointing to find out.
Cool as fuck. The mask is cool as fuck. But yeah, now that I know that it's a
and the theme music, I thought he was like a dangerous snake. But
it's
no,
tea. It's just hot tea.
When he does that hand gesture, he's like a tea kettle pouring out the.
Yeah, I thought he was like a snake. I always thought he was like a viper or something like that.
Because Black Menso Ray sounds like the name of a dangerous snake.
Right. Like, kind of like you're a Black Mamba, like same vibe as a Black Mamba or whatever. And then
like lazy Sunday, you're watching a nature show, and they're showing like a gazelle in the field. and then the British or Australian, because it's always a British or Australian guy.
It's always that
never
David Adelberg or whatever his name is. Or, yeah, it's always him.
It's always somebody like that. They're like, little does this gazelle know that the dangerous black menso ray is and they'll show it slithering towards
behind
him.
very closely. Right. Yeah, and you're like, uh-oh.
Then he bites the gazelle, and the gazelle like jumps back, and then it'll only be a matter of minutes before the gazelle meets his fate, and then he just falls over, and he's dead because the black menso ray bit him with his very dangerous venom. That's what I thought he was. I thought he was like a dangerous venomous snake. He's a fucking tea kettle, Rich.
A hot tea kettle, though.
Yeah, it's a whistling tea.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
a whistling tea kettle.
That'll hurt.
It's boiling hot water. I guess you could look at it that way. So it's Masa Kitamiya, Shohei Taniguchi, Alejandro, Kai Fujimura, and Harutaki. That's the one Rich didn't want to say.
Harutaki? No, I know Harutaki. It's just, I just, we're having this discussion about these guys, and they're just the guys. But it's got your guy Kaz Fujita in it, though. So I should have shown some fucking respect. Your favorite wrestler in the world in 2025.
Oh, sure.
Kaz Fujita. Listen, you like him this year. I like Hideki Suzuki this year too. You're becoming a pervert. What happened to you?
I'm becoming the world is upside down, Rich. I like Ironhead Fujita. I like Hideki Suzuki. This is crazy. Muhammad Yone, Atsushi Katoge, Hajime Ohara, and the aforementioned Black Menso Ray. I want, Rich Craich, a solid 4 minutes breaking down this 10-man tag. Go.
All right. So we have Kaz Fujita.
You're going to try this.
No, I got nothing here. I was hoping that our boy Odashima would be on the other side, because at least there'd be some Kaz Fujita.
They don't seem to be doing it anymore.
No, I know. That was the best thing. They just keep doing that forever. I think you could have done that forever.
He's wrestling Yuto Kikuchi in the opener. They're calling it a dark match. Now, I don't know. If they air it, it's a pre-show match.
I agree. I think they call the one that happens like the pre-show. I think I got a translated press release, so they probably said, pre-show / dark match or whatever. But yeah, it's the thing that airs before with no commentary or whatever, and then the lights go down and the lights go up. It's a pre-show match.
We're being told in the chat that Black Menso Ray is not, in fact, a tea kettle. He is a ramen bowl. That's even worse.
I thought somebody told us he was a tea kettle last time. This is why we can't get corrected.
Someone told us he was a tea kettle. Well, look, that's even worse if he's a ramen bowl. Now,
that doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help the matters.
It depends. Is he Firewalk? Because if he's Firewalk,
so he's
not going to be Firewalk.
He's got snakes on that mask, though. There's something. There's a lot going on here. I don't know what's going on with this.
So he's either a snake, a tea kettle, or a bowl of ramen.
Yeah.
But he's going to be like that dopey traditional ramen with the egg and the fucking one piece of onion or something.
Yeah, not Firewalk. Not Firewalk.
No Firewalk.
Just loaded with what kind of vegetables are in that?
I think what you're trying to think of is 47,000 grams of salt. Is what you're trying to think of.
Right. Yeah, that's all.
Is what it's loaded with. It has 48 times your daily allowance of salt. I don't know. Firewalk has.
I don't care about.
Is he the molten chicken Firewalk, or is he?
You know what? It would be smart since Noah and WWE, there's a bit of a relationship there. It'd be nice of WWE to share some of that sponsorship money with Noah, and the Black Mensa Ray can be a bowl of Firewalk ramen, the official ramen of WWE.
I went to a Japanese restaurant with my boss about 10 years ago. Or as Vince McMahon would say, my boss at the time, my wife at the time. And they before the meal came out, they brought this little, I don't even want to call it a bowl. It's like this serving of some kind of broth. It had one noodle in it. And it had this weird shaped spoon, like not like a normal fucking spoon. Like
like the ramen spoons. I know.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
I could see you being very upset at the spoon that you were given, but
no, that's not I look over at his because I thought maybe my broth accidentally had one noodle in it. But he had the same thing. He had like this little cup of broth with one noodle in it, and he's happily guzzling it down with the spoon because we went here because he liked the restaurant, and I'm I'm like, why am I giving broth with what? There either needs to be no noodles in this, or more than one strand of noodle.
Was the one noodle very good though? Was it like a very good noodle?
No, it's just a fucking noodle.
Are we talking? Are we like? Is this a miso soup? What are we doing here? What kind of restaurant are we at? I'm assuming we're at a Japanese restaurant. Okay, all right. And this is probably what was given to you before the dinner, right, or before the meal.
Yeah, no, it came out. I didn't order it. It came out like
I feel like you're just getting a miso soup with a noodle in it. Just eat the miso soup and call it a day.
It's like it's like if you go to fucking Chi-Chi's. I don't think they exist anymore. And they bring you to they bring you to chips and salsa.
I'm aware of. Yes, I'm aware of. Thank you for explaining this delicacy that you get at Chi-Chi's where they bring you chips and salsa before your meal.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You go to a Mexican restaurant and they bring you the chips and salsa. You don't order. I didn't order this. I think
you got a bowl of miso soup. I don't know why there was only the one noodle in it. I can't answer that for you.
One noodle, and it was on purpose because his only had one noodle.
Now, did you get, because most of the miso soups will also have like the one little, was there any tofu in this dish as well?
No, I described it in its entirety.
Okay, that is kind of ridiculous. All right.
This is what I'm saying. It was a little thing of broth. I can't even call it a bowl. A weird spoon and one noodle in broth. That was it.
Okay.
His had the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, did they always give this to you at one noodle? He's like, oh, it's just a little appetizer.
Like no green onions, no green onions either. Just the bowl, just the noodle.
No, broth and a single noodle.
Okay, that's a little weird.
I promise you. So I just picked it up and chugged it. I looked at the spoon, tossed that aside.
What did you order? What did you order for your entree here?
I don't. This had to be
chicken teriyaki or some bullshit.
I'm thinking when I worked that job, it had to be like between 2010 and 2012. So we're talking a lot of years ago. I don't remember what I ordered, but the restaurant was one of those hibachi gimmicks where you have to sit with other people. And
the worst.
Does the gimmick?
The worst.
No, I told him. I said I'm not doing that. When we went in, I said, I'm not doing that.
Small talk with the guy while you're fucking making the onion.
I don't want to talk to I don't want the guy next to me who we didn't come in here with me. Oh, what do you do? Oh, my name is...
Right, the worst. Oh, my God.
I don't give a fuck, Ralph, what you do for a living.
They're going to do the onion thing. This is great. Okay, yeah, the onion steams. I got it, Ralph. Thank you, yeah.
I don't even want to talk to the person I came with. I don't want to talk to some stranger.
Fucking Ralph, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm like, and it was packed, and I'm like, no. I'm like, listen, if they can give us a table, otherwise you're eating by yourself, I'll go somewhere else where we can't. She's like, we'll just sit at the table. I don't need the, I was like, all right. So we sat at the table, and they brought us that little broth with one fucking noodle in it. So, I don't know. But I don't remember what I ordered. It was years ago. Definitely not sushi. I don't do sushi.
You don't strike me as a sushi guy. That's why I was wondering. I was wondering what your order. I was wondering what the Joe Lanza order is at a Japanese restaurant. It's not ramen. I can tell you that. It doesn't sound like it's ramen. So,
I mean, I've never had traditional real ramen. I would eat it. I guess
it's good. It's good.
It just seems like the shit that I make, and then they throw a fried egg in there.
No, it's a lot better. Than the stuff.
That's what it looks like. I'm sure it tastes better.
It does taste a lot better than this.
They throw a fried egg in there and like maybe one shrimp, right? Like
no, you get it. No, you get a good amount of stuff,
and then like one onion, just to dress it up. That's what it always looks like in the. Dude, I will Google ramen right now, and I guarantee you it pulls up a picture.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So I Googled just ramen.
Just ramen. Just RAMEN ramen. Okay.
Right. And you look at the third picture. It's the noodles like if I went in there and made my fire wok.
Mm-hmm.
Some scallions, a fried egg, and a slice of pork. They just dress it up.
No, there's mushrooms in there too. There's a lot of pork. Where do you see
mushrooms in there?
The third picture from the Cozy Cook?
Yeah.
From the Cozy Cook?
No, from Delish.
We're getting Delish. Let's see. Okay, we are getting different results. Damn internet. Results. God damn it, internet. Yeah. Oh, I see. I see the one you're talking about there.
Yeah, okay. It's like a slice of pork.
There's a lot. There are several slices of pork in there.
Is there? There's more pork in there?
Yeah, if you look below the broth, there's some pork.
All right, I like that then. I like that. I'll eat the pork.
Yeah, you get a lot. You get a lot there. Yeah, you got to.
These aren't even fried eggs. These are like hard boiled eggs.
I toss those out. I toss those out. I'm not an egg guy. I don't like eggs.
You don't eat that?
Nah.
What's this one with like the black and red noodles? I don't trust that. Is that like
the black and red noodles?
Tonkatsu ramen.
Oh, you would like that? Yeah, tonkatsu ramen. Yeah, I think that might be your. There's different broths too. A little more. You want a little more milky of a broth.
Sure I would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you would.
I don't want milky. I listen. I would enjoy this. I've never had it, but I would enjoy it.
All right. You love firewalk. I think you would enjoy the tradition.
I love the firewalk. You know what I do sometimes? I'll fry an egg and throw it in the firewalk.
There you go. See,
because then it's authentic Japanese ramen. Right in my home.
It's already very authentic. So you're just making it even more.
I'm making it even more authentic.
Yeah.
Never with the chopsticks though. That's ridiculous. Oh, here's that spoon I was talking about.
I know the spoon you're talking about. It's the spoon that you get at every single Japanese restaurant. Yeah.
Fucking chopsticks with soup. What are we doing?
Well, you use the chopsticks and that spoon. So you put the.
No, you don't. It's soup. Use a fucking spoon.
And a fork. You get there and get the fork. Yeah.
No, it's soup. I don't want a fork and I don't want chopsticks. I just want a spoon.
I think you're going to struggle. I think you're going to struggle.
Listen, when I eat the firewalk,
I don't know if the firewalk's an accurate representation.
It is. It's the noodles and broth. So I take the spoon and I drag the noodles over to the side of the paper cup that it comes in.
See, it's going to be harder when the cup's not paper.
No, it's not. Listen to me. And then you just gently cut the fucking noodles using the spoon in the side. You just press it against and it slices them. And then you have a bite-sized piece of noodle and broth. I'm not using 19 different implements to eat soup. It's fucking soup. I'm using a spoon. That's all there is to it.
Are you going to slurp? Are you going to authentically slurp or no?
No, it's disgusting. I would never slurp. I'm not picking up the bowl. It's disgusting.
No, you don't pick up the bowl. You just bring your head down to it and then you slurp.
But you got to tilt the bowl. How else are you going to slurp?
No.
What are you talking about? What if it's halfway empty? You got a fucking dragon tongue?
No, you're slurping. You're slurping your noodles, brother, not slurping the broth.
No, what am I, a savage? I'm just using the spoon to pick it up and eat it. I'm not slurping. It's gross. I'm especially not doing that.
I don't slurp. I'm not
People watching me. I'm gonna have the bowl up slurping. No, I'm not doing that.
You're supposed to.
I'm classy.
That is seen. I think that is seen as classy. You're letting the chef know you enjoy his ramen by slurping, I believe.
Some matches are temporary, but your privacy shouldn't be. With Line 2, you get a second phone line just for dating. No need to share your personal number until you're ready. You can chat, text, and even block numbers, all while keeping things fun and private. It's perfect for online dating, blind dates, or just keeping things light. When you're ready to move on, Line 2 lets you cut ties without any drama. Dating should be fun and carefree. Line 2 keeps it that way. Ready to date on your terms? Visit line2.com/audio or download Line 2 in the App Store today.
But you're probably not going to enjoy it. You're like, look, brother, I'm eating your ramen. That's good enough, all right? I'm paying you $20 for your ramen.
Just eating a meal.
Right.
I'm not gimmicking the way I eat the meal. Right. You can save your chopsticks. I'm never using chopsticks, period, on any food.
Do you know how to use them or no? You've never used them?
No.
You have no idea how to use them?
No. Why? No. And I have no interest in learning. Just give me a fork. I learned growing up how to use it. Look, if you grew up using chopsticks and it's your culture, great. Use chopsticks all day long. I think people who use chopsticks who didn't grow up with it culturally are pretentious. I think it's a pretentious act to eat with chopsticks as like a gimmick.
I love it.
It's like that's pretentious as you're doing it as a gimmick.
I have no problem with that. That's fine.
It's like that is no different.
It's good with sushi. It's you're not a sushi guy, so I don't think you'd. But a fork with sushi wouldn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel.
Right, now that kind of makes sense because you're piercing it.
Yeah.
But here's how I view chopsticks. If you're just like a white guy using chopsticks, okay, it's no different than Stephanie McMahon Gracias in the Mexican restaurant. It's no different. It's the same thing to me. Just ask for a fork. You know how to use a fork. You're going to fumble around with the chopsticks just because you're eating Asian food? You know what I mean? If I'm like an Asian guy sitting there, I'm going to be side-eyeing you, man. I'm going to be like, look at this fucking gringo over here using the chopsticks. Big night out. We're going to eat Asian. Let me use my chopsticks. It's like, no. You know, you're a white guy. You should be using a fork is what I'd be thinking if I'm the Asian man, right? You see where I'm coming from?
What if he thinks that's good that he's trying to learn about my culture? That's pretentious.
Maybe he thinks that, but like I find it pretentious.
That's fair.
When non-chopstick people use chopsticks just because they ordered orange chicken for delivery and now they're going to use the little chopsticks that came in the bag. No, go in your drawer and get a fucking
Well, I would
fork.
never at home. By the way, at home I'm just using the fork. But at the place, sometimes they don't give you. Sometimes you have to ask for the fork. At a lot of places I go to, the chopsticks are common, and then you have to ask for the fork, and that's humiliating.
Yeah. That would be embarrassing, I admit, to ask for the fork. But then I wouldn't be able to eat because I don't know how to use the chopsticks. I'd have one in each hand trying to like gather the food.
Stab the side and bring it up. Yeah.
I will never. I
learned late in life. I learned late in life how to use the chopsticks. I won't lie.
I'll never understand how you're eating rice with fucking chopsticks.
Oh, very easy.
I don't get it.
Very easy.
Well, I don't have that skill. I'm not interested in that skill. It's like changing oil, right? I could probably learn if I wanted to, but why? I could bring it to the guy. You know what I mean?
Let Meineke handle that.
Yeah. I bring it to the guy and I sit in the fucking lobby for 10 minutes and then he comes in with his rag and he's wiping his hands. All right, we're all done. We're all done, Joseph.
Ding,
they
ding.
Call,
Ding, ding.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then I pay the guy and I hop in the car and I fucking put on Mad Dog Unleashed and I go home, right?
After you just got done thumbing through a 1.5 old Sports Illustrated in the lobby.
Yeah. Entertainment Weekly. Yes. And so it's like, it's the same thing. Like, could I learn? Am I dexterous enough to use chopsticks? Probably. Do I have any interest? I have none. I have no interest, Rich. I'm going to order my General Tso's chicken and my my Mongolian beef, extra spicy.
Good order. Good order. Great order, by the way.
Yeah, from the guy up the street, and he's fast. It's always the same lady that delivers it, right? And I'm going to go in my little cutlery drawer, and I'm going to get the fucking fork, and I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to use the dopey little chopsticks that they put in the bag because I'm not going to make my Stephanie McMahon Gracias face and do that. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't feel right.
I'm a little worried.
I'm definitely not eating soup with chopsticks. That's preposterous.
That's fair. I'm a little worried. My Chinese spot, I think I got food poisoning from them last time. It's actually on WrestleMania Night 1. When that show was over, things did not go well in this household. Bad. Yeah, it was real bad. And it was bad. And like you were on some tangent. I was like, fucking please stop. This is not going well. I need to get out of here as quick as possible. And it did not go well for like the next 3 or 4 hours. So yeah, I'm worried because that was my spot and I really liked it. I really had a good time. I'm worried.
So what's the problem? They're closing?
No. I think I just got food poisoning from them. I just got real sick.
Oh, you were sick.
Yeah.
Oh, you had the shit.
No, it was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
All right.
And I think it was that. I don't know. I had airport food as well, but that was so many hours before that. I don't know. It wasn't good.
Well, how'd it go? Did you take a shit or what'd you do?
Yeah. Many.
Okay. Tore up that toilet.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I found a ramen. Look at this one. It's got the sliced in half egg with like sesame seeds on it.
Mm-hmm.
The noodles, mushrooms, but they look like they've been sauteed before they went in, which is good. Jalapenos and then red jalapenos. Now that looks hot. It looks like it's going to burn right through.
Oh yeah, some of them will just destroy your insides in the best way possible.
I would eat the fuck out of that. Now, what they need to do is throw a slice of that fucking roast pork in there too that I saw in the other one.
There you go.
But hold on, do we have a place here? I'm gonna
you gotta have a ramen place. Yeah.
But are they gonna make me eat it with the fucking chopsticks? Because I can't.
No, they won't. They might make you eat it with a dopey spoon, though.
Thick wooden spoon thing.
They might. Usually, it's like a thick plasticky, like a thick kind of. Yeah. The problem is you're going to be hard pressed to find like the big time long stemmed like American spoon. That might be tricky.
All right, I got this place here. Q Ramen on University Drive and College Station. Okay.
How many? Give me the exact distance from your house, just to be.
Well,
sure.
it's
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
You want me to dox myself? No,
yes, no, please don't do that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not eating on campus during school. That's not happening. So maybe in the summer. But let's see if there's another one. Bo's Ramen and Sushi House.
No. That place sounds like it sucks. But how is Bo spelled?
B-O.
Okay.
Yes. That could be an Asian man.
Yeah. Bo. I don't know.
Or it could be a very Texas man too. That's the problem.
Yeah, Bo. Well, that's what I was. It was like BAE or BEAU. I was like, get away. No, do not go there. If it's Bo, like that Bo.
They got like the bubble tea gimmick there.
Okay, a bubble tea gimmick. Yeah.
The bowl of ramen looks. I don't know. It's got the tofu in it. I'm not interested in the tofu.
You're not a tofu guy? Yeah.
Nah, I'm way too manly for that. I don't know. I think I'll wait for.
I don't like Bo's.
The semester.
What was the other? What was the other guy? What was the other one called?
Curyaman.
Please spell.
But I'll wait till the end of the semester when it's nice and empty.
Yeah,
QYU.
Oh, this. No. I know this. It's a good. It's a chain. This is good.
Oh, it's a chain.
Yeah, it's good shit. Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, but is it good?
Yeah.
All right, so I should go to that one.
That's good. Yeah, that's authentic shit.
You know what? That all makes sense. If it's on campus, it's more than likely a chain.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I've had it a couple places, and it's been good every place I've gotten it. So,
well, the pictures all look all right.
Yeah,
pictures don't look like chain food.
No. It doesn't taste like chain food. It just is a chain. But yeah, you're good. You're in good hands. You're in good hands with them.
Now, is this going to ruin Firewalk for me? Because I do enjoy
I don't want to. Yeah, it might. I don't want to ruin Fire. No, you know what? No, no. Because it's very much like we always have this discussion about Olive Garden or Taco Bell or whatever. You don't eat Olive Garden and then go, well, I don't want Italian food ever again because I've eaten at Olive Garden. No, you've had Olive Garden. That's a different vibe, a different taste, a different. Taco Bell doesn't now disqualify you from eating Mexican food for a while.
Right.
Different vibe.
Or the opposite. Like if you have good tacos. You're not going to be like, oh, I can never eat Taco Bell again. No. When you're in the mood for Taco Bell, you're going to go get Taco Bell. So what you're saying is if I go eat real ramen and I enjoy it, there may be an instance where I'm craving some Firewalk and I might eat it anyway.
I think when a podcast is over, you might still be like, yeah, let's fire up some authentic Firewalk.
Let's get some Firewalk going. Yeah. I always have some.
The official ramen of WWE, yeah.
That's right. Seth freaking Rollins on the fucking thing.
Liv Morgan and Seth freaking
making
Rollins.
His puppet face. Yeah, he's making his puppet the face. He's like,
I can't find it. It's never around by me. I can't find it. Right.
That's the face. And he's wearing some dopey outfit. He's going, right there on the package.
And what's Liv doing? She's just like got piercing eyes, right?
I haven't seen her on it.
Okay.
I haven't seen her on the package.
Hollywood it girl, Liv Morgan. That was so good. What a week. What a week in wrestling media.
Terrible podcast this is.
It's not good at all. WWE, we got some releases.
Am I going to get canceled for the chopstick take? No. I think I'm defending the Asian people. Honestly.
No, you are. You're taking their side. You're saying I'm an asshole for trying to appropriate their culture. You're like, their culture.
I'm defending their culture. I'm like, leave the chopsticks to the chopstick experts, is what I'm saying. I find it I find it condescending that you're using the chopsticks. So I don't think you have to cut any of this out. I'm standing up for the chopstick.
Thank you.
Native
it's good.
Users.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone has to. Why not me?
Some releases in WWE. You ready for this? Breaking news here.
Oh shit!
From PW Insider. No, don't get too excited. Christine Lubrano, who served as Senior Vice President, Creative Writing Operations for WWE, has departed the company. Lubrano was among a number of WWE staffers let go today. The belief is at least 10 to 12 staffers were cut today, possibly more. So, office cuts first to come.
Oh, yeah. And there's been rumors that talent cuts are coming.
There's some boo-boo face. Tweets. Yeah, there's some boo-boo face tweets out there. Whatever's next, my next chapter will stay. Yeah, so there's
my journey.
A lot of journeys. A lot of journeys out there.
God, I hate that word. I hate when people say they're on a journey. Weight loss journeys. My wrestling journey. You're not backpacking through Tibet. It's not a journey. You're just living life like everybody else. Okay? Going on a diet is not a journey. I don't want to hear about weight loss journeys. I don't want to hear about fitness journeys. I don't want to hear about journeys after you get fired by Nick Khan. That word it gives me the fucking, what do the kids say now? It gives me the ick.
The ick, yeah.
It gives me the ick, Rich Grage.
Officially, the kids don't say that. The kids don't say that. Now that you said that, the kids don't say it anymore.
It's over for ick?
I think it's over for ick, yeah.
It's over for the ick. Yeah, maybe. White guys using chopsticks gives me the ick.
But anyway, that's the first of what I think is going to be many. We'll see what ends up happening in the days that follow, which I guess gives us, let's do this. We'll segue that into some free agent news going on in the wrestling world. So first one, I talked about this a little bit on the Flagship Plus I did covering the Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom show. Mayu Iwanti leaving Stardom. There was ideas of where she's going to go next. Pretty much everybody assumed and guessed correctly that the next stop for her was going to be Marigold. So she's joining Rossy Ogawa with Marigold. Now, does that eventually lead to her coming to stateside, to WWE? Who knows? That was been kind of rumored as well and talked about a little bit. But for now, she is locked in with Marigold. So she was she was done with Stardom, and then there was a mystery opponent at their upcoming show, and everybody was like, oh, we all know what this is. And then Marigold was going to do a press conference on a certain day, and everybody kind of was like, all right, it's just a matter of time until it's announced. And it was announced that Mayu Iwanti is signing with Marigold. And she had some great things to say about the talent in Marigold, including they botched a lot of moves. I'm hoping I can improve the roster. And it's like, all right, yeah, there you go. Get into it. So Mayu Iwanti leaving Stardom.
So you follow this. I obviously know who this is. Is this the girl that looks like she just rolled out of bed?
Correct.
When
yes.
she comes to the ring?
Yeah. Who also has a tail sometimes. Most of the time says
she's pretty good and she's a draw, right? So
yeah.
I don't know a ton about this. You know more than me. Is this going to be a big hit? Stardom just did a huge show that.
Yeah. So the thought that a couple people have, including, and now I have it, but I'm a little bit more on the outside. I don't consider myself an expert as much, but a lot of the other people
know more than me.
Yeah, I do know more than you. That's not a high bar, but I do know more than you. I mean, you know literally nothing. So
I know nothing.
But Alex Richards, who did the review for our for voiceswrestling.com, wrote kind of the similar thought that I had, and a similar vibe that I had after the show, that yes, there's a lot of big departures. Tam Nakano, who was in the main event of that show, which, by the way, that match, the Tam Nakano Saya Kamatani main event, is really good and well worth your time if you want to check out at least one match from that show. But Tam Nakano lost that match, and now she is retiring, and she's older. She's not. I don't think she's going to marry. I think that's it. She's retiring. She's done. She's been talking about retiring for a while. She lost. She retired. Now, they drew a big house. They drew the biggest house they ever have in their entire company's history, largely on the backs of that you're going to see Tam Nakano for the last time ever. So she's out. She's gone. Mayu Iwanti, she's out. She's gone. Now, those are two pretty big draws for Stardom, but the idea kind of is, and this is what Alex thought, and this is kind of what I have, is that Stardom has been kind of ready to have their next generation sort of move on up. And Saya Kamatani being the big one of that, is she's been a big star, similar to Ozawa. She has a very similar trajectory to Ozawa, where it's like kind of bubbling up there for a while, and then she hit, and now she's hitting big, and she's drawing big in Korakuen and big all over the place. So the idea here is maybe, yes, they have been big draws for Stardom in the past, but maybe that next generation is ready to kind of move up. And maybe it's a little bit of a Wrestle Kingdom 10 thing. That's why I kind of talked about on my Flagship Plus is, after Wrestle Kingdom 10, it was like, shit, you're losing Nakamura, you're losing AJ Styles, you're losing this guy, you're losing that guy. Well, they were like, we're good. We got Kenny Omega that we're going to move up, and we're fine. We're not going to miss a beat. We have Okada, who is now ascending to another level after these guys leave. So that would kind of be the idea of Stardom is, yeah, we're losing these two big draws, but we think that this next generation's ready to move up and be our big draws. We'll see if that actually happens. But it'll be interesting to see, because Marigold is not doing well draw-wise, not really doing well business-wise, not really doing well in-ring-wise. It's not going well at all for Marigold. So this adds a lot more legitimacy to them than has been the case for them for a while. Especially, they had Julia, but Julia, that was just a stop until she was going to WWE. And since she left, they've really not had anybody that felt like a real tangible draw. So
Iwatani's tight with the creepy hat guy.
She is very tight and very loyal to Rossy. So, yeah, it was just a matter of time. Like, everybody thought she was going to be one of the first ones to go, and she stuck around with Stardom for a little bit longer than anybody assumed. But the second she was able to go, I think it was some sort of contract thing or whatever, but literally the second her contract was up, it was bam, right over to with Hat Guy. So, we'll see.
Creepy Hat Guy.
Creepy Hat Guy, yeah. Rossy Ogawa. I got this one very right on Flagship Plus. I got the name of the person right and where she was from, but the Thekla. How do you pronounce this? Because it's not Thekla, right? Isn't it? It's pronounced a different way.
I thought it was Thekla.
I always thought it was Thekla too. Whatever. Okay, let's go with Thekla. I think I was wrong, but maybe I'm not. I said she was Australian. She is not. She is Austrian, but she is also out of Stardom, regardless of where she's from or how you pronounce her name. She is out and she is going stateside. The idea is that both WWE and AEW have major interests. It does feel like AEW might have a little bit of a lead in that, is what's sort of been reported and talked about and rumored, but we'll see. But she is going stateside with the idea that one of those two companies is going to pick her up at some point.
Didn't I see a report she's leaning AEW?
I think so, yeah. Now, I don't know if that was just like I don't know who report. I did see that, but it was Fightful? Okay. Yeah, let me double check with the words.
AEW,
okay,
I believe.
Okay.
Let's get that right, though.
Yeah, all right, let's make sure. Because I didn't know if that was just like a guess or whatever, or like let's see. Those in AEW believe Thekla is heading to the company. Is pretty okay. That's pretty strong.
I mean,
that's pretty strong.
It's reporting people in the company think she's coming.
Yeah, those in AEW believe Thekla is heading to the company. Okay, so that seems stronger than I thought.
I don't think I've ever seen this person wrestle. Is this someone that could convert to American television to you? In a meaningful way. I mean, you can put any.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
She has a good look. She's not great. She's got a jump off the page look, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never saw much in her. I don't know. Maybe there's some other Joshi people that have. I've never been too impressed with what I've seen. Again, a good look, but yeah, in ring is a little rough, and I don't know. I have never seen it with her, but anyway,
this is neither here nor there. But isn't she dating Clark Connors?
Forget
TMZ flagship here.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I forget if she's the one. No, I think isn't Clark Connors with shit, I forget. A couple of those New Japan guys are dating Stardom people.
He's dating someone, right?
I think he's dating
very
Natsupoi.
publicly dating.
Isn't it Natsupoi?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think he's dating. Yeah, I forget now. Yeah. Or is he not? No. He is dating. He is dating Clark Connors.
He's dating Thekla, right?
Yeah, Clark Connors and Thekla are dating. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Like very publicly.
Yes.
Haven't they done angles together?
Yes, they did at the historic crossover. Yeah. That's where I got mixed up because Natsupoi was involved in that angle. But it was Clark Connors took her out or whatever. So yeah, they did an angle together.
Right. Like not coincidentally, like with the idea of everyone knows we're dating, that kind of angle.
Correct. Yeah. Not everybody but me apparently, and you that didn't know that.
Yeah, everyone but you. Yeah.
But everybody locked in on historic X over or whatever definitely knew. But anyway, other free agent news here real quick. Indi Hartwell officially signing with TNA. So she was released from WWE a couple months ago, and she is now officially
the right move for her.
Crossing the line. Yep.
It's the right move for her because if there was any interest from AEW, she would have been there already. Clearly, Tony Khan's not interested. I don't know why he would be. She's not very good. She had years to develop in WWE and never did, and they let her go. I don't think she's very good. But if she has designs on getting back into WWE, and I think that this could be sort of a backdoor way that people, if you want to get noticed by WWE, the best thing to do is to go to TNA since they're working with them very closely and all of that. So that strikes me as that kind of move for her. So, hey, maybe I'll go to TNA and I'll get the right eyes on me and, you know, and maybe they'll bring me back someday. And I think that could be the thought process for a lot of free agents at this level, even if there's some interest from Tony Khan. But if it's interest at the level of, hey, you know, maybe we'll put you on ROH for 6 months and see how it goes, or, you know, if it's that versus similar money, less but similar money in TNA, but sort of tangentially under the WWE umbrella, I could see people choosing TNA. And I'm not saying that's what happened here. I just don't think AEW was interested, but that's something to keep an eye on.
Alan Angels officially done with TNA, and it did not seem like, if you read his quotes, he kind of was hoping to stay with TNA, and they kind of said, "We're good with you. You can go away now. Bye." So this is an interesting one because a few years ago, when he left AEW on his own volition, he was one of these guys who was betting on himself, right? I think he may have used that term, like literally, and it didn't work out. You know, sometimes it doesn't work out because I don't think he has improved his standing in pro wrestling or his reputation or his star power or anything since he's left AEW. I think he's at the exact same spot he was when he left AEW. So this didn't work out for him. I don't know that there'd be any WWE interest. I would think not. I mean, he's not someone who jumps off the page for me. He's an okay little worker. Would Tony take him back and stick him with what remains of the Dark Order? Maybe.
if it's a per date deal or, you're not going to break the bank to bring in Alan Angel. But at this point, the Dark Order feels like a dead act.
It really does. Yeah. I feel like you have enough roster fodder and depth guys that you don't need in Alan Angels. And
a million guys in ROH that can do what he does.
Yeah, he's still 27, which is kind of wild. I thought he was older than that. He's still only 27, so he still presumably has years in front of him. But you're right. He took that bet on himself, and it just it has not worked out. So
no, it didn't at all. So he didn't even make much of a mark in TNA, honestly.
No, and there's an interesting thing going on in TNA right now because Savannah Evans also announced that she is now a free agent and contractually done with TNA, and it's something that we talked about along, when the bubbling of the relationship between TNA and WWE started, and we said, what's going to be very interesting to see is how many new people come into TNA, how many people they sign, and also what they do with their depth, because TNA was a nice little gig for those people like your Alan Angels and your Savannah Evanses and those people there, but now they don't need those people because they can just get NXT roster fodder and borrow them for a couple months or a week or whatever. And we talked about that there are going to be fewer jobs in wrestling because of this relationship. Now, people have a tough time wrapping their head around that a lot because they're too, drowned out by their whatever side of the war they're on. But there are going to be fewer jobs in professional wrestling because TNA can just... They don't need to have a full roster because they can say, all right, we have this spot and this spot and this spot. Do you guys have anything? And then NXT can say, yeah, we have this person, but we're not using. You can borrow them for a couple months or a month or a week or whatever. So TNA is going to look at their roster and their depth and say, oh, we don't need Savannah Evans, we don't need Alan Angels, and they're going to be one of many. There's going to be a lot of other people that are in that same boat where if you're not making your mark in any tangible way, you can be replaced by one of these NXT depth people, you know what I mean? So
sure,
and that's it's going to be a problem because TNA was a viable place for a lot of people to work, and it might not be as viable as it once was for a lot of those same people. I think that's it on free agent news. Oh, sorry, there's one more. Was it Alex Kane? Right, Alex Kane has been floating out that he is
so
soon to be free.
Reported it out. Alex Kane has about 1 month left on his MLW deal, which probably tells you June 1st, right? Since today is, and a nice clean date, right? Today's May 1st, month left. So June 1st for estimated date for Alex Kane, former MLW world champion. This reeks to me of Alex Kane wanting that to be known.
Sure.
Right? Which, okay, I mean, I'm not even knocking him for that. You float that out there and that's putting out feelers, right? So then you see if you get some phone calls, and I'm sure he's hoping those phone calls are coming from WWE or AEW. I don't see it personally. I liked the way that MLW pushed Alex Kane for his rise. I like the way they pushed him as champion. He's kind of slipped.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't, since he's lost the title, he just comes across like another guy. He doesn't, and believe me, we're the MLW podcast.
Right. Oh, there was an aura.
In.
Oh, there was a real aura with him for a while there, for sure.
There was a real aura, you're right. And there's not anymore. I feel like he lost the title and he doesn't come across to me like a top guy anymore since he lost the title. Whereas sometimes okay, I'll give you a high profile example. Swerve won the AEW world title with a great push and he lost it. And even when he lost it, he still felt like a top guy.
Oh yeah,
and he still feels like a top guy, right? Like
he doesn't feel any lesser now that he's not the champion. He still feels like a top tier superstar in that company.
That was a title win and a title push that clearly elevated a wrestler from one level to the next successfully. It worked. Alex Kane, the push was great, the title win was great, the title reign was great. He felt like the biggest star in the company. He did. There was a point where he felt like the biggest star in the company. He lost the title. Now he just feels like a guy. And in pro wrestling, it's hard. You can never identify when you're going to get Swerve and when you're going to get Alex Kane. And if it was easy to identify, every promoter would be a billionaire.
Right. Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard, and it's like, to me, he doesn't come across. And then when I see him like on WrestleMania weekends and things like that, he never stands out on the indie shows. And it's crazy because that push was great. And he came across, he was doing the suplex gimmick, even going all the way back when he was aligned with King Mo. And King Mo would be at ringside with the cards counting how many suplexes he gave the opponents. They pushed him like he was this killer, like similar to the original Taz push in ECW, where he was just this fucking wrestling machines throwing people on their heads and no one could stop him. And then he wins the title and they do the whole Boomaye thing. And he's got, I always forget that guy's name. The
Mr. Thomas.
Guy,
Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Thomas. And he's got his stable, and it really came across, and the fans chanting "Boomaye" and all that.
Yeah, he had the crew come out too. Like on his big time title matches, he'd have like 15 people come out with him.
Yeah,
and everyone chanting "Boomaye, Boomaye, Boomaye," and it was like, oh fuck, this is great.
It was cool, and it worked, and he felt like a star. And ever since he's lost the title, he just feels like a mid-carder. Mm-hmm. He doesn't feel like someone who was okay. Now he's one of the top guys, and he could win the title at any time. He doesn't feel like that. So I think his free agency is coming at the worst time, because it's like, I feel like peak Alex Kane has passed. Now, look, I'm not saying he was a red hot commodity when he was MLW champion. Hardly anybody watches MLW, but relatively speaking to the company he works in and the level he's at, he was way hotter a year ago.
Well, you could see it. You could see it. If you were going to try to sign that guy, or you were trying to get signed or whatever, that you'd send in those tapes and be like, hey, here I am, in this main event here. And I'm defending the championship in the main event. Here's, 200 people chanting Boomaye and
look how over I am.
Right. Whereas now, the most recent tape you have to show people is not great. Yeah. It's just, it's
small too.
Pretty normal.
Comes across. He's not a big guy. He's short. And when you're short, there's obstacles. You have to come across even that much more charismatic and all those things. I just feel like, obviously, he's floating that out there. He's trying to get his name in the news cycle, drum up interest, see if he can get something working. My prediction is he re-ups for another 6 months or another year or another 2 years with MLW. I think that's his level. I think that's where he belongs. It's. I don't even see him as a TNA guy, honestly.
No.
And NWA would be a step back. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's an MLW guy. That's what he is.
Kind of feels that way. Yeah, he does feel like an MLW. He does feel like that's kind of his spot. And it's kind of why we're in a weird thing with the ecosystem right now, because it's like, MLW, for all jokes aside, and people like to joke around or whatever, it is a viable place to get paid to wrestle. You know what I mean? So if you're in that in between zone, it's for a guy like Alex Kane, who, as you said, comes across sort of smaller, especially if you put him in there with big time wrestlers. I don't know if it would translate very well to AEW or WWE. So yeah, MLW is probably the best spot for him. I mean, TNA maybe, but not the current TNA. Whatever TNA is right now, he's not. He's a fit for TNA from 4 or 5 years ago. He's not a fit for TNA.
Yeah, maybe
today.
Maybe at a different time. Sure. I just. I mean, MLW. You're gonna get steady, consistent work, and you'll have your name on a contract, and you'll be visible to some extent. Versus if you're not with MLW, you might disappear on the indies, because there's really no, outside of Game Changer Wrestling, there's no other indie. There's Deadlock to some extent. There's the Pacific Northwest with Defy and Prestige. And, it's more, the indies have become more local than they've been really in maybe 2 decades.
Yeah.
Outside of Game Changer.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very localized. Very localized.
It's all localized. So you can get lost very easily in the indies, even if you're working some of the better indies. Even if you're someone that works Deadlock and Defy and, New Texas or something, let's say, you still might not have a lot of eyes on you.
Right. He wrestles a lot too, but people probably don't know he's wrestling in action wrestling all the time in Tyrone, Georgia and stuff. He wrestles a ton in that he's in the North Carolina, Georgia, that region. He's in a lot between his MLW shots he's doing. But how many of those do the people that really watch that stuff know about it? But yeah, he really, like you said, kind of out of sight, out of mind. he's working every single weekend, but he's working, strictly, in the Southeast, and no one really knows about, and that's one of the good benefits of MLW is that you only have to show up, once a month basically, and you're good to go. And then you can take your bookings elsewhere throughout the rest of the, throughout the rest of the month or whatever. But yeah, that some guys might be, I don't want to do that grind anymore. I'm ready to but it might not be much choice but to do that grind right now. But luckily the grind is maybe you just can kind of stay in one area, and get as far as you can. But anyway, that is Alex Kane. So we'll see what ends up happening with him. But yeah, I did look. It does say June 1st is when his contract does expire. So that was actually reported, that June 1st date. So.
Well, there you go.
Exactly like you said. So
nice round date. Probably signed it January 1st.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Maybe,
or last June 1st,
Yeah. I for one am stunned that the Eric Bischoff feud didn't stoke the flames of Alex Kane's career. But
do you see the fake Cesar Duran Twitter account taking passive aggressive shots at Bischoff?
It's very good. Is it a fake account?
Well, I mean, in the sense that Cesar Duran's not running it. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, right. Sir, that is at real Cesar Duran. Are you telling me?
Right. Okay, let me clarify. It's not a cosplayer pretending to be Cesar Duran. It's Court Bauer running the Cesar Duran. That's what I mean.
All right, yeah.
It's not the actor, whatever that guy's name is, firing out wrestling tweets. Yeah, just burying Bischoff, like the announcement of the.
It's great. Wrestling. Yeah, I have it here. So it's at real Cesar Duran, which again, real Cesar Duran. Quote: I gave Bischoff the boot, and he rebounded with ... That amateur hour, literally. Thank me later for firing him before he pitched this in MLW skull emoji. It's so good.
Now you know what that is? That's Bauer ribbing Bischoff on the square. Because Bischoff might see that, and even if he's annoyed with it, Bauer can say, "Oh, that's supposed to be in the character of Cesar Duran."
Right. That's what Cesar Duran would say because he did fire you.
Yeah. But the reality is he's burying him. Like he's shooting on him. He's that's absolutely what that is under the guise of a kayfabe tweet, which is
it's a good little gimmick.
Little ribbon on the square.
Court's good. He's good.
There is a theory that in every joke is a kernel of truth.
For sure, yeah. Because otherwise, the real Cesar Duran is just like hyping up because he is the MLW Presidente or whatever. But like every other tweet, like you're saying, is just like, "Hello, Renegades! Like this Friday, sold out Arena Mexico." You know what I mean? It's very like promoty. He's very promoty in every other tweet.
You would not believe the luchadors that I have coming to Cicero this Friday. That kind of shit.
Yeah, it's very promotion heavy. For Cesar Duran, but
I have found the world's greatest luchadors that I will be bringing to Cicero.
Yeah, Lou-Cha-Doors, right? LOU-CHAR.
But then it goes for the throat with Bischoff. It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah, he deserves it. All right. Hey, we're talking about MLW. Let's talk about that this week. Is this do we know if this is airing anywhere? This MLW CMLL Arena Mexico show, is that airing on the normal CMLL Arena Mexico?
That's an
slot?
Excellent question.
I was looking,
but I don't know the answer to that.
I couldn't find it. I believe it or not, as a renegade, I tried to find it out on MLW's website when I could see my favorite fighters, and I can't seem to figure out when I could actually watch it. So,
yeah, I don't. I would assume it's being taped. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah,
that'd be great if they just throw it on their YouTube, right?
Sure.
What a weird business model. They have a pay YouTube that just shows old shit, and they give all the
it's fucking worthless.
Anything that anyone would want to watch just airs for free,
right? Unless you want to watch that same show that aired for free 4 months after it aired for free, then you have to pay.
Then you can pay.
What? Who would do that?
It doesn't make any sense. Look, I'm okay with it.
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's free wrestling versus I'm not paying for MLW YouTube. So, I mean, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked about this card when they announced it. Did they change it? They changed the card.
They changed it a little bit.
What the fuck? It was better before.
It was a little bit better before. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
All right. So
unfortunately.
You want me to go through this?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Atlantis and Afinye versus Guerrero Maya Jr. and Hechicero. They changed everything. What do you mean they changed it a little? Every match is different. Mystico versus Templario versus Akira.
No, hold on a minute. I don't think you're looking at the right card.
MLW's Thekla Lucha 2025 from Cicero.
No.
Oh, you want the Arena Mexico show?
Talking Arena Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about it as Thekla Lucha. No, that comes next week.
I thought we moved on. My fault. All right. So here's the Arena Mexico show. Reina Isis versus Alejandra Quintanilla. That didn't change. Donovan Dijak and Akira Kwan versus Barboza and Zando Khan Jr. I think they added that.
So I think the women's match did change. I think it's Reina Isis versus Janai Kai.
Oh, you're right. It was Janai Kai. Because we talked about how it's a big spot for her to work around Mexico.
Did they change that, or is that okay? This is a problem because I swear to God I have a. Okay, that was a press release from them. Let's MLW, for God's sakes, guys.
Well, let's go with the press release. That's going to be more accurate than Cage Match.
Well, no, this is an old press release, so it might not be actually more accurate.
Well, then, where would Cage Match get it, though?
You're right, yeah. Okay, go with the Cage Match.
Because Cage Match they're getting the same information we're getting.
Right,
They're just having... All right, well, anyway, this is what Cage Match has. Okamura and Kojima defending the tag titles against Magnus and Verhito. That was definitely on the card previously.
That was for sure.
Those two teams are feuding. Paul London versus Neon.
in a lightning match. In a lightning match.
Is it a lightning match?
It's a lightning match, yep. One
Matthew
fall,
Justice
10-minute time limit. Lightning match, yep. Between Neon and Paul London. My
match.
God.
All right, well, let's see. Paul has the working shoes on. I've been watching Paul London shoot interviews with Rene Dupree.
Lately. Paul London shoot interviews are great, though. Those things used to be really good.
They're fantastic. They're still great, by the way.
Are they still good? They hold up? I haven't watched them since 2000.
No, these are new.
Oh, they're new? Oh, my God, really?
They're newish.
Okay.
It's great. It's Graybeard, Paul London.
Oh, my God. Okay, because I remember him in his post WWE run, getting real high in a hotel room, shooting on people. That was good. These are relatively new.
They're newish. I don't know if they're from last week, but they're newish, and he just says whatever the fuck he wants, and so does Rene Dupree, and they're a lot of fun. Matthew Justice defends the national title against Ultimo Guerrero. Remember, we talked about this. It's not plunder. What's he going to do? He has to actually wrestle.
Now, do we know it's not going to be plunder? Maybe Ultimo will say, maybe Justice will come out and say, hey, do you want to make this no DQ? And Guerrero will ask everybody, raise the roof, and then they say, yeah. Let's do it, and then he can hit somebody with a chair.
Brother, Ultimo Guerrero is not running the razor against Matthew Justice.
Going through a table? He's not coming off a ladder, taking a bump?
No, he's not.
He's not going from the top of a ladder through a table? You don't think so?
I don't think he's going to. He might get pitched some barbed wire spots, but he's not going to say he's going to give him the old "that don't work for me, brother." I mean, no. They're going to go in there and have an Ultimo Guerrero match.
Yeah, probably.
It's going to be 2 3/4 stars, and you're going to like it. And that's what you're going to get. Mystico versus Kushida in the main event.
Yeah.
Non-title, but what title? Neither of those men have a title, so I don't know. Mystico gave up all his titles.
Yeah, maybe that's an outdated cage match thing. Because the thing I have just says main event singles match now, so no title. So
yeah. So anyway, we think that's the card for Mexico. Then that's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. Yeah. So the whole time you were doing that, I was trying to see if I could figure out where this thing is airing.
Isn't that just the Friday? That's just the Friday Arena Mexico show, right?
I suppose it is.
So it is airing. It's the Friday Arena Mexico show.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, MLW is being coy.
Out, didn't we?
Well, they're just being coy on it. They're not telling you how you can watch this or where it's going to air or whatever. So that's why I'm wondering if they're going to repurpose it for their YouTube or not. I don't know. It just seems very odd that they haven't really explained anything.
Listen, I know where I'm watching it. Hello, Griffin Peltier. But I don't know where everybody else watch. But no, it's. I think it's just the Friday Arena Mexico show. That's so. Glad we were able to work that out.
Right. We'll talk Azteca Lucha next week.
Okay, we'll save that for next week.
Still waiting for my press pass. That thing's sold out, and I haven't got my press pass yet. So we'll see.
You didn't get your press pass?
Not yet.
What's going on? You did hard-working journalism last time.
I know.
You had the recorder out. You interviewed people, or was that 2 shows ago?
Yeah. When the hell was that?
Point is,
I was there.
Who else was there? It was just you and Case Lowe. Do they want coverage? I don't understand. This little rant's probably not helping your case.
Probably not.
Do they want coverage?
I know.
Or not?
I know.
I mean, they come to us.
A table's
They
not
come to us,
the
Rich.
journalism table is not very large at the MLW
It's
shows,
not
but
full- no,
but I'm always there. I'll tell you that. I
You're
am
there.
always
That's
there.
right. You got your little placard. You got your little cap that says press, and you've got your little recording device, your phone, and you bring your note. You bring the notebook. Right?
I always bring
You
a notebook. Of course. Yeah.
You're there to work, right? You're there to work. Laptop, you scoff. Nay, you bring a notebook.
Notebook, yeah.
Spiral style. Okay?
Can't rely on the
And-
Wi-Fi. Can't rely on it. Mostly you can't, especially at the sort of stadium, because if you recall last time their Wi-Fi went out and they couldn't air their show on the YouTube show, and that's the exact same thing I think of. Is like, oh shit, well, you know what? The notebook's not going to go. I'll have all my notes no matter what with this notebook. So I'm going to resubmit just in case they didn't get my first one. So there you go, just resubmitted for it. But
You want me to get on them too? I could send a strongly worded email.
nah, I'll follow up with my man. I got his number. You know what? I got his fucking phone number. That's what I got to
Text
start
him.
doing. I got to give a text.
You know what? Take it to the next level. Call them.
No, I'd be horrified about that. Are you kidding me?
That'll show you mean business.
Man, can you imagine?
In fact, I'd call them during dinner time.
Get him up for the wife and the kids. Yeah.
Yep.
What's this?
He's sitting there trying to enjoy his
Hey,
yeah. He's trying to enjoy his pot roast with the family.
his Salisbury steak or whatever.
Yeah. He's like, he stands up, he's wiping his hands with the cloth napkin, takes it off his lap, takes the napkin off his lap, and
He
is
wipes
wiping
his mouth a little bit too. I like that
Yeah,
too. The
yeah.
little wipe of the mouth. Puts the fork
phone
down.
call. What is this? You
Takes
know?
one sip of his milk. Puts it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rich.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, what is he calling me about?
As he's standing up, the wife is going, "Honey, we're eating." Right.
Right.
And you know he's going to get it when he hangs up. "Honey, we're eating." And and it's you looking through your press
Hey.
pass.
I heard Azteca just sold out. Where's my press pass? I mean, I want that
absolutely
press
what you
pass.
should do.
I want that press
Yeah,
pass.
I agree.
That'll get it. I'll get that.
Nobody covers the major league of professional wrestling like we do.
Nobody.
And that's a shoot.
Nobody.
No one
not
does it.
one person. There's no other podcast on earth that covers MLW better
There's no-
and more than we do.
Entity on earth that covers the world that never stops like we do.
It's true.
It is true. And look at this. Blatant disrespect.
Maybe they're just trying to sell a couple more tickets. I'm trying to figure out where to stuff my table. But that's all right. I'll stand. That's all right. I don't care.
Well, they claim it's sold out. Can you just walk up and buy a ticket like when they say they're sold out?
Well, yeah, the TNA style. I don't think so. I think this one is legit sold out.
Okay. Yeah, they usually sell out Cicero.
That thing they pack. Yeah, that thing is always fucking packed. So
You get all the descendants of Al Capone. You get everybody.
they're all there. Yeah. Yeah, I
Coming
can't
out.
buy a ticket online. It says sold out. They sent a press release sold out. I mean, yeah, I think this thing's pretty sold out.
Johnny Torrio, everybody.
They're all there. Yeah.
Do people still talk about Johnny Torrio in Chicago? Like, are you ever out,
Torrio doesn't get as much.
out in Starbucks and people are bantering about Torrio's
Nah,
reign of
Torrio
terror?
doesn't get too much.
No? Capone? They talk about Capone, or is that too?
Oh no,
tacky as well?
God, yeah, no, Capone like crazy. Yeah,
Capone
you
gets
could buy
talked
like,
up?
oh
Okay.
yeah, you could buy like magnets of Al Capone. Like it's a full on.
Oh, we idolize him.
Oh
now.
yeah. Here in the city,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, we idolize
Also,
all
Capone-
the. There's gangster tour. Like you should come. You'd love it. There's a whole. You can go on a bus tour, and they show you where everybody got killed. You're like, yeah, that's where that guy got killed. That's where that guy got killed. That's where that guy got killed. And you can get out and take.
So these people realize if Capone was alive today, he'd be shaking them all down and killing them. If they
Correct.
didn't go
Yeah.
along with him.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make clear that they understand.
Oh, they get it.
who
Yeah,
they're
they get it.
idolizing.
They just want to make money off of mugs and magnets with his face all over it. So
It's like these online commies, like they all love Mao. You know, he'd fucking kill you in a second. You fool. Same thing.
It's not Torrio. There's a guy that killed himself like a block away from where I work right now, and I walk there sometimes, and I'm thinking, yeah, that guy blew his brains out right here. Which one was it? I forget. I'll figure it out later. One of the popular
so many.
ones. One of the popular ones that everybody knows about. He blew his brains out right in front of.
Yeah, you know, I don't think New Yorkers idolize John Gotti to that extent.
right. We love it here. I don't understand. Yeah,
It's they love them. Maybe it's so far removed, like it doesn't feel real because it was like 100 years ago. Could that be why?
Frank Nitti.
I mean, if John-
Frank Nitti.
Oh, Frank Nitti. Of
Yeah.
course.
I walk right by the spot almost every day when I go on my walks. And I'm like, yeah, there it is, right there.
Oh, no, Dallas, they got the giant red X where Kennedy got.
Yeah. I thought it's at a funeral home. It's in a funeral home. So I said, it's like perfect. Just put something here. It's like, hey, this is where this guy, this is where he did it right here. But
I remember WrestleMania in Dallas. Dave Meltzer wandered up to us in the parking lot of Eddie Dean's ranch. And he goes, have you guys seen Brian Alvarez? And I was like, Dave, I have to say, I have not seen Brian Alvarez.
You should know where Brian is more than I would.
And somebody else, like, that was walking by, like, oh yeah, he went over to the grassy knoll. He's visiting the Kennedy gimmick. And Dave was like, oh, he went yesterday. So Brian Alvarez went to the Kennedy gimmick twice.
Well,
when he was in Dallas for WrestleMania, at least according to this random person.
I mean, I buy it for sure.
But is that the most Brian Alvarez story ever?
That he would go to WrestleMania weekend and then spend most of the time at Dealey Plaza.
And he'd go twice
at the Red X. Yeah, right. I got to go to that Red X again.
Yeah.
Well, he does the After Darks, the conspiracy stuff. So maybe he's trying to check out the grassy knoll, check out the book depository, figure out about the magic bullets, one shooter, multiple shooter theory. There's
rubbing
a lot
his chin, his chin, studying the angles.
Looking at the X again, looking up, looking down, looking up. I don't know.
He's like, I got to come back tomorrow.
I just didn't get enough yet. That's so good. He was just there yesterday.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, he was just there yesterday. And he had this befuddled look on his face, and I don't know. That's possible. The guy walking by was full of shit. But he seemed genuine.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that for a second, knowing what I know about one Brian Alvarez. All right, real quickly, a couple more things here. We can do Best of the Super Juniors. Well, next week's going to be a lot of shows. So let's just, real quick, I'm going to run through Best of the Super Juniors. Here's our blocks. Kicks off May 10th, runs through June 1st, because next week we got a lot of shows to review. So I want to clear the runway for next week. So Best of Super Juniors 32, the A block, Clark Connors, Dragon Dia, Francesco Akira, Hiromu Takahashi, Kosei Fujita, Kushida, Master Wato, Ninja Mac, Robbie X making his debut in Best of the Super Juniors, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru in your A block. So not that exciting to me, that A block. Not a lot that I really love there. I don't know what your thoughts are on the A block, Best of the Super Juniors.
You got this written down somewhere?
Yeah, in our topics and run sheet.
I see it. There it is. Did they announce the replacement for Bushi yet?
I don't know if it was a 1-to-1 replacement, because here's our names that we have now. I don't know who was announced before this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the whole names now. I don't know who Bushi was supposed to, or who was not supposed to be in there. And
Dia was in it.
Dia was definitely in it. Maybe Robbie X. It might be Robbie X. Because I feel like he's a new announcement for this.
Is Chris Sampson, you still listening? He'll know. He's still listening. He was in the chat before. Let me look at that. Ninja Mac will be fun, but he'll work the opener every night. Connors, Dragon Dia. Dragon Dia, Ninja Mac. Gato's got to figure out a way for two guys to lose in one match. That'll be a challenge. I don't know. I think the two guys that annoy me the most that I have zero interest in watching are in the B block.
That is true. Yeah.
Actually, maybe the three.
There's the B block. It runs hot and it runs very cold. 4. Yeah.
Actually, I hate the B block.
This is the problem with the B block. Yeah. Because here's exactly my thought on it. Is like the A block is like, I don't know. Everyone's like fine, and I'm not like annoyed. Yeah. I'm not annoyed by anybody in there, but I'm not excited about any of those matches. And there's a couple really exciting matches in the B block, and then there's a couple matches that I'm like, fucking gag me. I cannot believe I have to watch this bullshit.
The B block is top heavy with guys I want to see. And then the bottom of the B block are 4 people that I would rather literally stare at my wall than watch the rest.
Right, because you have El Desperado, Kevin Knight. Now, Kevin Knight, that'll be a lot of fun. You got Mao from DDT. That'll be a lot of fun. Yep. Nick Wayne coming in from AEW, which will be a lot of fun. Yep. Does suck, though, because I'm really thinking, like, if AEW had their chance, like, I feel like I'd be like, Nick, why don't you not go? Because, like, the Christian thing's getting real hot and heavy. It's getting really good, and it's just gonna be gone.
Yeah,
for like
I talked about that today on the review.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I'm wondering if they can find a way to keep that simmering while he's gone, because that really has been very interesting what they're doing with Christian right now.
I guess Christian can kind of do stuff on his behalf and say, oh, Nick thinks this or Nick says this or whatever, and then he can come back and be like, you don't speak for me. I was out in Japan, going in the best of super juniors. So that's one way.
It's bad timing to go away.
It is. It sucks. Yeah, because it's like, shit, this guy's going to be gone for like a month now in the heart of this this angle that feels like it's getting there, but maybe they have a good way to get around it or a good way to keep it hot. Robbie Eagles, and that ends. Oh, and Teton's in this block too.
Yeah, Teton. Yeah,
and then Ryusuke Taguchi in his 21st Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Yo, and Taiji Ishimori. Fucking
those are the four guys that can all go get fucked. That's four matches when they're not wrestling each other. That's four matches right off the jump that all four of those guys, if I never had to watch any of those four people wrestle ever again, I'd be perfect.
Can you imagine how fucking awful Sho versus Yo is going to be?
I think I dislike Yo more than Sho.
Sho feels no.
Yo is such a dork.
Because Yo's trying to Sho is trying to be awful.
I feel like if Sho ever left the house and dropped the wrench, he'd be fine.
Yo is an absolute fucking geek of the highest order.
Yo is a complete waste of my fucking time. He's one of the most annoying, off-putting wrestlers in the business for me right now. I just don't ever want to watch him wrestle. Comes out in his stupid denim outfit. Never has a good match. He just
never has a good match ever anymore.
No,
these guys were good before. It's hard to believe these guys were.
It's crazy how their careers turned out. It is really stunning how their careers have turned out. Sho was coming along really nicely as a power junior, but they went with the House of Torture stuff. So, I can't even really, I am but a humble servant, right? Mm-hmm. He has to do what the booker asks. But Yo, there's no excuse for that.
No, those fucking denim shorts.
He's just a weirdo. You just
get
the sense he's a strange guy. You get the sense there's just an aura around him of he comes across like a weirdo. I don't know. It's hard to explain and articulate.
Right.
Taiji Ishimori, I'm just fucking tired of, and Ryusuke Taguchi.
Yeah.
What needs to be said? Just fucking retire, bitch.
Right.
Let's move this along.
Doing dumb butt matches and stuff. It's get out of here. Yeah. And Ishimori, it's can you possibly be excited about any Taiji Ishimori match in 2025?
You can't. Not anymore. I can't. But the block is so top heavy because I love everybody else.
Yeah. Mao versus Kevin Knight sounds awesome. Mao versus Nick Wayne sounds awesome. Desperado versus Kevin Knight sounds awesome. Desperado versus Nick Wayne sounds awesome. Robbie Eagles, Teton was
Robbie Eagles and Teton versus all those guys.
Yeah. That all sounds great. Teton was the secret CMLL guys. What we're letting the chat room's letting us know. And Robbie X replaced Bushi.
Okay, so that's. Honestly, to me, that's an upgrade.
Oh yeah,
I'd rather watch Robbie X in his first Super Juniors where he's trying hard and trying to make an impression than watching
that guy's going to
Bushi.
Try a lot. Robbie X, effort has never been a problem for Robbie X. He'll try his ass off.
I've seen every Bushi match you can see. No thanks. I'm done. It's fine. I'll take this guy because at least it'll be fresh. Bushi is just the epitome of just a guy. But yeah, the A block isn't very exciting, but there's also really no duds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the floor is pretty good. The floor is pretty good on the A block. The ceiling might not be as high, but the floor is very
right. All the duds are in the B block, but I think like you said, I think the ceiling is higher in the B block with a lot of exciting looking matchups.
But that floor, Ryusuke Taguchi and Yo. Think about that. There's going to be a match with Ryusuke Taguchi versus Yo.
I don't want to.
How much butt stuff is going to be in that match? Think about that match right there.
Taguchi still doing the butt spots? I don't even.
Not as much. I think he's just doing bad. He's just bad now. I don't know.
There was a time where he could crank it up and be great.
Yeah, that was
10 years ago.
6 years. Conservatively at best, 6 or 7 years ago.
10 years. Yeah, 10 years ago. He's just. I'm over it. It's show with the wrench. I can't. I don't know. But all right. When's that start?
That is May 10th. So starts pretty quick and then runs through June 1st. Real quickly, the Dontaku. There's 2 Dontaku shows. This is, again, a big reason why I think we have to do this stuff now, because there's going to be a lot to review next week. But big matches on these shows. Main event in the night 1 is going to be the Loser Leaves Bullet Club Steel Cage match. So House of Torture versus the Bullet Club War Dogs. There can only be one Bullet Club team. So you got Evil, Ren Narita, Sonata Show, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of House of Torture defending or facing off with Bullet Club War Dogs, Connors, Finley, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, Taiji Ishimori. Cage match, Dontaku. So
all right.
Probably harken back to last year's match, which I did not like. And I think
I didn't really like it either. I thought it was a spectacle, but it was excessive, and I don't know, it's long.
It just, I some people love that match. It's really weird. Some people love that match, and I got done watching it. I was just like, that's it? I don't know.
I get it. I get why people liked it, but I don't know. It didn't really work. I mean, there were some interesting moments in that match. Didn't Hanare get hurt legit? I recall.
Oh yeah.
So, the most interesting thing here is maybe we will finally get a shake-up with one of these heel units and they'll go away. Because I don't like the House of Torture or the War Dogs. I don't like the energy either one of those groups bring. So will the losing team, there's a lot going on in New Japan. I mean, LIJ is down to 3 members. United Empire is a fucking mess, right? With the TJP, Jeff Cobb stuff, which, by the way, I broke down in detail behind the paywall. If anybody wants to listen to that. And then, so, there's a lot of, and they got rid of Chaos essentially. So, there's room for them to really give a gigantic fresh coat of paint to all these units. So is that what this match is going to lead to? Is it going to lead to one of these units breaking up and just a total shakeup of who's aligned with who? That's interesting to me because I am desperate for New Japan to kill off some of these heelish groups. I can't take it anymore. It makes me not want to watch the promotion. So from that standpoint, I'm interested to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, you hope for some sort of finality here. If they are promoting this as Loser Leaves Bullet Club, there hopefully is a unit. One of these 2 units just is done. You know what I mean? They're not with the, because it'd be really stupid if it's just we're still the War Dogs. We're not in the Bullet Club. We're still the War Dogs. It's fuck off. All right. You hope, and I think I'm similar to you, that one of these units just says, okay, we're done. This is it. Now we all go our separate ways and start our new units or start our new whatever the hell it may be. And if that's the case, it feels like the War Dogs feel like the most likely one to do that. Because you probably want to break Gabe Kidd off at some point into his own thing. Finley can probably do his own thing if he needs to. The House of Torture feels like if you break that up, you got a lot of dudes that are just kind of floating around doing nothing. You can also just release all those guys too, which I would need to. If you want to tell Ren Narita, Sonata, and Show to hit the fucking bricks, you want to keep Evil, that's fine. But anyway, they're not going to do that. But that's the Loser Leaves Bullet Club Steel Cage match. Semi-main event is Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino. So obviously, as we mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, this took on a little bit more of an extra. Umino tried to kind of shoot his own angles on Twitter, and it did not go well for him. So we'll see what happens there. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Is another match as Tanahashi does his final countdown tour. And then El Phantasmo versus Konosuke Takeshita for the World TV title. Interesting. So Takeshita coming over here for a chance to win the World TV title against El Phantasmo. That's a
weird one. That's a weird one because
you don't want him taking a loss, right?
Yeah. So are they going to put 2 belts on him? That's a really weird one. Is what I think about that.
And then the rest of the show is just a bunch of tags. Bunch of tags. Yeah. Now night 2 is interesting because they have a bunch of tags, but they're all these local dudes. A lot of these, like Fukuoka guys, like Mentai Kid or whatever. Like a lot of these Kyushu Pro guys, and I'm excited. I cannot wait. I love these dudes because I watch Kyushu Pro a lot because it's all free on YouTube.
Something a little different.
And that Mentai Kid, he comes out and he gets these. Have you watched any of his entrances recently?
I've reviewed Kyushu Pro shows, behind the paywall, or matches, not full shows. But yeah.
So he does the thing where he comes out and everybody gives him a necklace of, I don't know if it's candy or beads or whatever. And every time I watch a Kyushu, it gets longer. And apparently the most recent one was like a 12-minute entrance or whatever. I don't think he's getting that here, but that's interesting. I love that this undercard is just filled with, it's got we have a random appearance of Stardom wrestlers, and we have a random appearance of Kyushu Pro guys and local Fukuoka guys. This is awesome. I love this card.
Yeah, it's strange. It's it's different. You know, it mixes up the undercard a little bit versus doing the same old 8-man tags.
But if you guys want to check out that full card, you can see it on our topics and run sheet or go check it out on Cage Match or whatever. But the big time matches on this one are going to be Hiroki Goto versus Callum Newman for the IWGP World Title and the IWGP Global Heavyweight Title, Yota Tsuji versus Yuya Uemura. Now that main event, obviously, there's 0% chance that Callum Newman wins that match, but I think it's an interesting booking and a fun booking, and we talked about kind of how it all came together with the Jeff Cobb thing and Callum Newman getting that big win over Tetsuya Naito, which made a little bit more sense a couple days later. But that's a huge opportunity for Callum Newman. I mean, this is one of those career-defining matches that we know he's not going to win, but how he performs and how he handles this moment can really set the stage for what he's going to be for the next decade or whatever it might be for him in New Japan.
Yeah, I said what I had to say about Callum Newman a few weeks ago. I think long term he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, and I'm supremely confident. I'm supremely confident in that. I think
so too. I'm going into this match thinking that at the end of this, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh wow, I didn't really realize he was like that." You know, I didn't realize he was that good. Because I think,
I mean, he could have a great match. I think he has to have a truly great match for people who have their heels dug in to admit that he was good in the match. But I don't know that he's going to have a great match. I think they're capable of having a great match. I think he's going to treat it, and rightfully so, as the biggest opportunity of his life and his career. He's 22. He's 22. I mean, he's got all the tools, and I'm not going to repeat what I said a couple weeks ago. I just know. I know a lot of people are going to be wrong about this guy. And if he has a great match here, that'll go a long way. I mean, he could really elevate himself, and this is not a deep roster. We all know that. This roster has a lot of problems. This is a roster and a promotion in flux right now. The opportunities are there for people to step up. And we've been waiting for this group of guys, like the two guys working the semi, for instance, to grab this thing by the throat and move up, and none of them seem to be able to do it. Some of that is a product of the booking and not really rocket packing anyone. Some of that is their performances. You know, you'd really like to see someone be an alpha and decide, I'm going to be the standout here and I'm going to be the one that's undeniable. And what better opportunity do you have to do that than if you're in the main event for the world title? And wouldn't it be something else if Callum Newman sneaks in through the back door and slips right past Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino and Ren Narita? I don't even know why I would even name him at this point.
I think you could lop him off that list.
Yeah, and you know, all these other guys who we're waiting desperately to step up into this position. And, you know, to me, Gabe Kidd is right there and ready. Sometimes it takes Gato 6 months longer than it would take any of us to pull the trigger on people. We all understand that. I don't worry. The only thing I worry about with Gabe Kidd is him jumping to AEW. Mm-hmm. If he stays in New Japan, he's going to get the big push. I don't worry about that at all. But at 22 years old, Callum Newman. But then again, if you're New Japan, you look at it, the landscape is so different. It's like, are we making a star for someone else? Why invest in these foreigners? Because essentially, in the current landscape, we can't keep them once we make them. So then you're kind of have this double-edged sword. Do we bother giving Gabe Kidd the full-on push? Do we bother giving Callum Newman if he performs super well here and gets over? Do we get behind him? Because
I don't think you can think that way. I think if you think that way, you're going to really limit the amount of people. And you have to think of. I completely
agree.
You have to think, okay, we only have Gabe Kidd for. Maybe we think he's going to go in 2 years or whatever. Let's make as much fucking money as we can with Gabe Kidd for a year or 2 years, or let's strap the rocket pack to Callum Newman and get as much as we can get out of him for the next 3-4 years or whatever. I think if you think, oh, we can't push this guy or this guy or this guy because they might leave, that's loser behavior, and you shouldn't, you know.
Yeah, you can't be gun shy because you have to get what you can get out of people while they work for you, and then you hope and cross your fingers that when if and when they decide to move on, they choose your ally and not the other. They choose AEW and not WWE.
Or that you're ready, or that when they move on, you have the next guy ready to go. And that's not easy. It's hard. That sucks. That's the hardest part about booking, but that's kind of the fun of it is, okay, this guy's going to leave. Cool. We're good. We got this guy.
Look, I think Jeff Cobb being, pulled from this match by WWE is a very happy accident for New Japan, and they're so much better off with Callum Newman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How much more fascinated in this match are you seeing? I mean, how does Newman step up? Does he step up? Does he shit the bed? Does he prove everybody wrong? There's all these different things, whereas Goto and Cobb is just like, I mean, you could close your eyes and you've seen that match, and it's fine, and it'll be okay, and then you're like, all right, cool, Goto got the win. I am fascinated by this match because it's like, fuck, they have been...
There's a chance for a guy to step up and make something of himself. Right. It's like... And that's what New Japan needs. Who could possibly truly give a fuck about Hiroki Goto versus Jeff Cobb? Come on. Jeff Cobb, who long ago hit his ceiling in this company. They weren't going to belt him up. They're not going to push Jeff Cobb any harder than he's been pushed. He was going to be the same upper mid-card guy he always was until the end of fucking time or until he left. And he left. There's no juice in a match like that. This is so much more interesting. Even if Callum Newman falls on his face, at least it's something interesting. And at least it's forcing New Japan to take a swing with a guy.
Yeah.
Which they're so hesitant to do. And it's crazy because how many more people have to moonwalk out of the company before they just pick one of these motherfuckers and push them to the moon? And then it either works or it doesn't. Pick one. And they're going to pick the wrong one. They're going to pick Umino.
they kind of already did, and
it's like
they haven't not picked him yet. They picked him, it failed, but they haven't really admitted that it's failing.
Let's try it with a shaved head.
Right. They're like, let's change a few minor things about him, and then it'll be all right. We can go back with him again. And it's like, no, I don't know if that's the guy. But
so fuck, man. Maybe Callum Newman makes himself undeniable.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather try it. I'd rather try it than say, oh well, we don't know if he's going to leave or whatever, so we might as well not push him. Yeah, fucking try it. This is the kind of stuff, like, I don't understand how people don't love this stuff. This is my favorite thing in wrestling, to have like unproven guys in big time spots is my favorite thing in the world, because, like you said, there's a talking point no matter what. There's no talking. Goto and Cobb next week, we're going to be like, yeah, I don't know, it's fine. And we move on, and that's it. But like after this, we're going to be, hey, Callum Newman either shit the fucking bed, and now I don't know if you can ever trust this guy again in a main event spot, or fuck, that was great. That dude might be there. That might be the guy. They might have a guy. Like, who doesn't love this? I mean, it's fun.
This, if Goto approaches this the right way, and if they're guided in the proper way, you can make a guy in one night with this match. Mm-hmm. And you weren't going to be able to do that with Jeff Cobb. If they execute a game plan where this kid is fighting from underneath and gives it everything he has, and they do a well-timed fighting spirit spot long after he's dead, and he forces Goto to literally kill him to beat him, and people and he is able to induce some kind of crowd connection with that and make the people feel him, and this can work. Is he ready at 22? Is he ready to put together that kind of match and put in that kind of performance? Is Hiroki Goto the right guy to do that with? And is Goto willing and capable to do that for this kid? Is that what the company wants out of the match? It's the kind of match that I would build, because I would take swings and try to make people. So, it's going to be fascinating to watch unfold. And I'm way more interested in this than I would be in Cobb. And honestly, it was time for Cobb to go. Cobb, he was.
Oh, I'm good.
He's been there almost a decade.
Who cares?
I mean, it's time for Cobb to go.
There's a lot of guys that, I'm of the mindset that after a number of years with a guy in one company, it's like, I'm good. I've seen it. We've seen it. We've all seen it. There's no more upward mobility. Move on, and we'll try another guy. So yeah, this is like my perfect scenario, is a guy that I'm kind of bored of, who's just kind of been taking up a spot, leaves, and now a young guy goes into a spot by virtue of it. Just, we had nothing else. We have to do this, so here we go. And like, I love that. That is some of the most fun thing in wrestling for me. And I think a lot of what we're talking about too applies to that semi-main event as well, with Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura, because this show is the runway's kind of cleared for these two matches. Like, there is not a whole lot else, as we talked about. The rest of the show is just like a collection of guys from Kyushu Pro, a collection of Stardom wrestlers that are local to the area, a bunch of random people thrown into a tag match, and then the two matches that are really being relied upon to be important in this match is Goto and Callum Newman, and then Tsuji and Uemura. So fucking grab this moment by the horns, you know? Don't let Callum Newman, like you said, don't let Callum Newman skip ahead of you guys. This would be a great match to say, no. He might be in the main event right now, but we're the dude. We're ahead of him still. He's still got to get past us. I mean, this would be a great opportunity for these guys to grab this by the horns. I hope they do. This could be a huge show. It could be a huge show for New Japan. I hope it is.
And I mean, he's being advised by Ospreay, who really bided his time and took his time and was very meticulous in all his business decisions and spent a lot of time in Japan and really made the jump to American TV wrestling at the right time and maximized his worth and the money that he was able to get. So he'll be getting good advice from that standpoint long-term, Newman. So, and obviously he's going to have, a pipeline to AEW as long as Will Ospreay works there.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's set up very nicely and he's going to be told to, because Will Ospreay respects the fuck out of Japan. He loves Japan. He loves New Japan. So, I mean, again, this is just a gigantic opportunity. Yeah, I would put him in charge of that mess of a unit too. I would just, and if these guys don't want to have a leader and all that, and they want to have this solidarity bullshit, I tell them, look, I'm the fucking boss. This guy is in charge of, this is what we're doing. And if Jacob Austin Young or fucking Great Khan don't like it, they can go kick rocks.
Yeah, too bad.
Let's make some people. I'd put this guy in charge. I'd put this guy as the on-screen leader of the unit. Like apparently they tried to do with TJP, but
again, you detailed all that.
Yeah. Teddy being Teddy and Jeff Cobb being Jeff Cobb, and it didn't work out, but you take some swings, man. Mm-hmm. Let him go out here and show some heart and be elevated in defeat, and then tell your fan base he's also now the leader of a unit.
Right. Well, and this particularly be a great show too, because it's night 2. That's Naito's last night too. So Naito, you're sending off Naito and saying, all right, he's gone or whatever. Yeah. If he'll ever come back, who knows? Whatever. I think it's a great opportunity to not let people leave this show thinking Naito's gone and he's never coming back, but leave saying, oh man, New Japan's got this guy and this guy. Oh, all right. Like that, you kind of want that thought when this is over. And that's why these two matches, I think, are so important, because they're going to follow, I assume, Naito's send-off. You're going to have a crowd that has been emotional because it's the last time they're going to see Tetsuya Naito in the New Japan ring. This is the time now to say, all right, that guy's gone, but we're here. We're staying. We're New Japan now. We're the next generation. I mean, these matches, I think they're very important.
The symbolism is heavy.
It is.
Symbolism is heavy. Yeah, it is.
And I love it. This is the type of shit I love, and I've been asking and praying for New Japan to do for 2-3 years now, and they just haven't been able to do it. They could be dragged kicking and screaming to do it, but they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get Takeshita to be exclusive, but you can't match the money.
No.
You know what I mean? It's I know I see a lot of people say that. Oh, just get Takeshita. Why would he give up that American money? Why would he give up that Tony Khan money to be full-time in New Japan and make less money?
Even if New Japan put their offer up to like whatever it might be, he could just go to Tony and say, can you pay me more than this? And Tony can pay him more than that. And you're not going to outbid him either.
Unless he just decides he hates America and wants to go back to Japan full-time. I mean, that you could forget that.
There's no indication. Yeah, there's no indication that's.
It's got to be these other guys. And what does that say about all these other guys that people are just, like wish casting Takeshita into that spot? It shows that the fans aren't really
right. They don't believe in.
They don't have a belief
because there's 5 or 6 guys that this company has been developing for a while now, and everyone's just like, yeah, just that guy. Just give them all the money to that guy. Give him a big push.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's Takeshita. Takeshita's the guy. Well, why? Why isn't it Uemura? Why isn't it, Suji or whoever? Because nobody believes in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's we're just repeating ourselves now, but it's like. That's why it's such a huge opportunity for Callum Newman. He could zip right past a lot of these guys.
Absolutely.
with the right kind of match and the right kind of performance. So it's fascinating to watch.
Definitely excited about that. So that is New Japan's Wrestling Dontaku 2-night event, May 3rd and May 4th. So again, Saturday and Sunday, right? Saturday and Sunday? Yeah, Saturday and Sunday for that show. Real quickly, there's a great written preview up at voiceswrestling.com of Dragongate, Dead or Alive 2025. I definitely want to check out this show and review it next week too, because there's a lot of really good stuff on this show, including the always famous Dead or Alive cage match from Dragongate. So you have Yuki Yoshioka, who I know you dislike greatly, Dragon Dia, Madoka Kakuta, Shun Skywalker, Kota Minoura, and Ishin. So this will obviously be everyone that's got a mask. The mask is on the line, and everybody that's got hair, the hair is on the line. So we'll see what happens with that match, but those are always a blast, the Dead or Alive cage matches. Yamato versus Jason Lee for the Dreamgate Championship. Yamato defending against Jason Lee. Open the Brave Gate, the vacant Open the Brave Gate. Homare versus UT, and I know that people have been trying to get you to watch some more Homare. I don't know if you've seen enough of him to have a thought yet about him, but he's got some dumb jock wrestler tendencies out of him. And then the Open the Triangle Gate match is BB Hulk, Susumu, and Kagetora versus Strong Machine J, KZ, and Flamita. Some other stuff on the card as well. But that looks like a pretty interesting show as well. So I'll try to have that watched and reviewed at some point. Whether we can fit it on a flagship or we'd have to do a flagship plus for it, we'll figure out a way. But definitely want to watch that.
So much to watch.
There's
this
a
week.
lot. I know.
Sometimes there's nothing to watch.
Last week,
like
and the last 2 weeks, there was like nothing to watch. And now this week, it's like, here's six shows that are all very important and you must watch. It's like, oh, fuck. All right.
So I know we're a little over on the time, although we lost like 10 minutes with the issues. I do want to sneak this All Japan Carnival Night 8 review in, because I've been doing these nightly reviews of the Carnival behind the paywall on Flagship Plus and elsewhere, and I did fall behind a couple days because they had a run of 4 straight days with shows that snuck up on me. So the last update behind the paywall was night 6 and 7. So I want to do night 8 here, and I'll go through this quickly. I won't spend more than 5 minutes on it. And then nights 9 and 10 from Kagawa and Okayama, I'll have those on the paywall either as part of a Flagship Plus or another freestanding Carnival catch-up audio. So very quickly, night 8, and we're closing in. Rich will jump. You're going to jump in when we get to the semifinals,
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't watched much. I've watched a couple matches here and there, but yeah, I'm going to jump in for sure. Coming up very soon.
All right. Well, this was from Bodymaker 2 in Osaka, so they packed it. They had 950 in there, which is pretty much the max capacity for that place. My recommendation to anybody would be, if you just want to parachute in for this tournament, I would watch the main events of the first 2 shows, the second Korakuen show in full, and this show from Bodymaker. It's been very obvious with this, and this happens with New Japan too, with the G1, and it happens with the N1. It happens with any tour. Oh, they don't call it. Do they still call it the N1? I forget what they call it.
N1, yeah. But, it's still the N1.
Yeah, N1. But a lot of these tournaments, the working shoes get put on for the buildings that they respect more. And it happens in all these tournaments. And the Carnival has been an example of that. The energy levels in the second Korakuen show and in this show in Bodymaker 2 were just so much different than the energy levels on some of the other rank and file shows. I don't know whether it's because they're jacked up about wrestling in front of more people, or they realize that these are sort of the quote unquote bigger shows of the tournament, whatever it is. The working shoes are always on and the energy levels are better and less guys are mailing it in. And on this show, look, this wasn't a great show with a bunch of great matches, but again, it was just big energy on this show all throughout, and it seemed like everybody was having a lot of fun. So Hokuto Omori versus Mike D. Mike D was 3-0 when he left for Las Vegas for WrestleMania weekend. And as I predicted, and as pretty much anyone could have predicted, he's been losing all of his matches since he came back because they weren't going to have him in the mix. And I wasn't looking forward to watching him wrestle Hokuto Omori because I hate Hokuto Omori and his really bad, unfunny comedy. And it started off a comedy, but then the intensity picked up, and they had a cool little match. And he hit him with a big lariat for a near fall that I thought was going to put Omori away. Then they did this great spot, and this was such a Mike D spot. He goes up to the top rope. He drags Omori to the corner, and he goes to the top rope to give him a top rope Randy Savage elbow drop. And Omori just rolls very slowly out of the way from the corner, like out of the corner and into like the opposite side of the ring, right? But then Mike D jumps anyway, like to give him the elbow drop. And he does this 3/4 across the ring, and he hits him and he hits him with the fucking elbow.
Mike D.
That is the most Mike D spot you could ever think of.
Mike D had a great thing in the Ryuki Honda match. I watched that where Honda got the win. Yeah. But Mike D did the thing where it was 1, 2, 3, and he's up at 3.1 or whatever. And he's like, what? You know what I mean? Like the classic, like 80s worker thing. Yeah, where it's just like the 1.3, the 3.1 kick out.
I don't know if I saw that match yet.
It's fine, but yeah, I love it.
What night was that? That was
that was
the last night. I didn't get to that yet.
Oh, okay, yeah. I hate to spoil it for you, but it's great. Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, and he's up, and he's like, "What? What happened?" It's like
he's so good.
He couldn't lay down for the whole time. He's like, "No, I got to keep my aura, brother."
He's been an absolute highlight of this tour. He's so good, and unfortunately, he might be WWE bound. I know they were looking at him, so we will give him a nice send off for his retirement if and when that happens. But yeah, then the finish was preposterous. Omori did like this jumping, flying leg scissors takedown into a pinning combination, and it didn't look great, but the rest of the match was a lot of fun. Madoko Kokoda, speaking of Dragongate, he, over the last few nights, has risen, and he's one of my top probably 2 or 3 performers overall in the tournament. He beat Angel Blanc here. This just had, again, the theme of this show, great energy. He was chopping the fuck out of this French guy. I mean, this was like no less vicious than Walter's nastiest chops that he was giving this dude. I mean, they were shotguns in that build. And that Osaka bodymaker too is cavernous.
Oh, I was going to say, it echoes. When you get a good chop in that building, you can hear it.
Man, was this hard hitting. And I thought he dragged Blanc to his best overall performance in the tournament, because Blanc has been doing this light heavyweight cruiserweight style, and it's not always the smoothest, but he brings something different to the table. Kakuta grounded him, and he beat the fuck out of him, and he worked stiff with him with those chops, and I thought Blanc had his most solid performance from an execution standpoint. I think 3 or 4 wrestlers on this show had their best performance of the tournament. And Kakuta has really, after a slow start, I thought, I shouldn't say a slow start, a nondescript start in the tournament where he really wasn't standing out. The last few nights he's looked great, and he won, and he went up to 8 points here. I know there's been 2 more nights, but I'm unspoiled, and I'm just going through as I go through. I was not looking forward to Kuma Arashi versus Hideki Suzuki. But again, I mean, this was like, I was stunned how hard Hideki Suzuki worked in this match. It's Kuma Arashi. It's a bottom guy. The highlight of every Kuma Arashi Carnival match is when the match starts and he does that bellowing, he does that yell, he goes, "Oh!" and the crowd does it back. And then it's a nothing match, right? He's had a bunch of nothing matches. But this was spirited Hideki Suzuki. And let me tell you something. He was bumping all over the place, and he's not in there with a top. He doesn't bump all over the place almost never, but at least with a top guy, maybe he'll do it. For Kuma Arashi, he's bumping all over the place. And then listen, this is how you know it's not your big brother's Hideki Suzuki anymore. He lost to Kuma Arashi. Could you even fucking imagine old Hachi Man?
Oh, God, no.
Before his WWE stint, losing to a guy at this level?
Hell no. He wouldn't lose to a guy at any level before.
At any level.
Right.
And he lost. Now, look, was it a banana peel? Was it like a, yes.
Look. There's levels to this, right? We're here. He's losing. That's all we can ask for.
He lost to Kuma Arashi. I mean, that's unfathomable for this guy. I'm telling you, I've done a complete 180 on this guy. Do you say 180? Because if you say 360, you're right back.
360, you're right back. Yeah, 180. You've done a 180 on him.
I've done the 180 on this guy because I do enjoy his, like, sometimes he's boring. There's no doubt. Sometimes he has a boring match. Okay. But his style is unique, and sometimes his style works for me. And if he's willing to do business and not be annoying from that standpoint, he fits on this roster right now. So again, I was stunned how hard he worked. Satoru Ishino versus Takashi Yoshida. Yoshida still doesn't have any points, and he lost here. This is the old Cyber Kong. He's been just a scummer. Like, he's using foreign objects, and he's doing like brawling / comedy in his matches. And they did a walk and brawl here. And I was like, all right, this is going to suck. But then when they got back in the ring, this was Yoshida's best match of the tournament. I mean, they really went at it hard. And I love the finish. Ashino after taking all this bullshit from Yoshida the whole match, like foreign objects to the throat and like getting choked and all this shit. He puts him in like this submission at the end, like this arm lock submission deal, right? And then the Yoshida gives up and the ref rings the bell, and Ashino threw Yoshida's arm away with such vitriol, like, fuck you. Like, I overcame all this shit. I beat you. I hate you. I hate wrestling you. It was just this look of disgust as he took his arm and just threw it after the bell rang. And he has a look on his face like, fuck this guy. I'm glad I never have to wrestle him again. And he stormed out of there. So Yoshida was a guy. He was one of the 3 or 4 guys I was talking about that I thought had his best performance of the tournament so far. Kento Miyahara versus Zion. Now, Zion's been horrible.
Yeah, everything I've watched from him, he's been brutal. The exact opposite of Mike D, where you're like, all right, here we go. Yeah. And then the bell rings. You're like, this guy stinks.
I'm out on Zion. I'm out. He's hopeless. He's a guy with a good look who just has nothing. Okay. And
how much of him did you see pre-WWE or during his WWE? I mean, I didn't really see much, to be honest.
I mean, they gave up on him very quick. I saw, he's just not very good. You can see why they cut him. Mm-hmm. But, it was going to be a challenge for Kento to get something out of him, but it was one of those magical nights where the crowd just loved Kento. He was the most popular guy in the card, which he often is. And, while this wasn't a classic by any means, I thought he got more out of Zion than anybody else has in this tournament. So from that standpoint, it was a success because he got something out of him and it was watchable. And he did hit him with the straight jacket German at the end. And, he got a near fall on him, and Zion stood up all defiantly and got in his face and growled. And then Kento just, I forget how he set it up, but he immediately hit the straight jacket German and put him away, and that was that. So then the main event was Davey Boy Smith Jr. over Jun Saito. Saito is the one who beat Davey Boy for the Triple Crown. So this was a fitting main event on a show like this, where it was almost like there was one piece of dead weight in every carnival match. And this was a match where it was 2 guys who were pushed. So it was a logical main event. It was the Triple Crown champ versus the guy he beat for the title. And Davey Boy started off very slow in this tournament. Just very low effort. Lots of reverse chin locks and just very boring drab work. The last couple nights he stepped it up. This match, I don't know. Look, Davey worked really hard against Kengo Mishimo. I thought he worked really hard against on night 7. And I thought he had a better match than he had here against Kento Miyahara on night 6. But this is now 3 matches in a row where Davey Boy Smith Jr. wasn't just that total boring drag on the show where it's like the Davey Boy Smith Jr. match this is going to be 10 minutes of just you're looking for your phone. So that's encouraging. That's 3 straight nights. So, earlier in the tour, like the Zion match was such a slog. The Kuma Arashi match, oh my God. Then again, look at his opponents. Let's be fair to Davey Boy.
Yeah.
Takashi Yoshida,
not great.
Kuma Arashi,
not great,
and Zion.
Yeah. I didn't realize, I was looking this up. Zion, he was a straight up developmental guy. He didn't work anywhere else before that. I forgot. He was a rugby player.
They brought him in from Australia. He was married to Harley Cameron.
Right. I thought he had some pro wrestling before that, but he's a straight developmental guy. And you look at his cage match and you're like, oh, no wonder this guy stinks. I mean, he did nothing but NXT for years, and then this. He did a little TNA stop, very, very brief, and now he's doing the Champion Carnival. Man, that's a hell of a jump to go from WWE to the Champion Carnival.
Yeah, and they don't, and he did nothing of note in NXT. They got him off TV very quickly. Davey Boy in his post-match promo was pushing the idea that he wrestled his final WWE matches against Zion, and everybody remembers those, and now I beat you in the carnival. And it's like, I respect the kayfabe. I do. I respect that, like him remembering that.
I like that you care, but
yeah,
nobody remembers. Yeah.
Nobody, in fact, remembers those. It's not true. But but then again, you look at those first 3 opponents, of course he had better matches against Kento Miyahara, Kengo Mishimo, and Jun Saito, yeah. So I haven't seen the Shotaro Ashino match yet. That's on night 9, but that was night 8. High energy. If you're someone who's not going to be a completist, then I would recommend not being a completist with this tournament. It's not that this tournament's been bad. This tournament has just merely existed. The best stuff was very early on. the main events of the first 2 shows, a lot of early Kengo Mishimo stuff and Kento stuff. And the rest has just been mostly what it looks like it's going to be on paper. But at least the second Korakuen night, which would have been night 6. So night 6 and night 8, if you're going to pick a full night, if you want to sit down and watch a fucking All Japan show, you got some 2.5 hours to kill or whatever, I would recommend either night 6 or the show I just reviewed, night 8. And then, like I said, I will do night 9 and night 10 sometime this weekend on either a Flagship Plus or a standalone review.
Okay. It's good. Yeah, I'm glad we're keeping up with the Champion Carnival this year. At least
it's
a little
Champion
bit,
Carnival. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't blow off the Champion Carnival. It's historically.
I had that thought the other day, and that's why I started watching just some random matches here and there. I was like, I got to watch some of the Champion Carnival before the finals, but we'll of course lock in on the semifinals and the finals.
I feel like you can blow off the N1, but I don't feel like you can blow off the Champion Carnival.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like you can blow off King of the Gate, right? But I don't feel like you can blow off the Champion Carnival.
It's the Champion Carnival. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something like, if you don't have time, I could see blowing off some of these other tournaments. I'd like to keep up with all of them the best I can, but it's like Champion Carnival, you have to carve out the time. You have to cover it to some extent too. I mean, I know some years we haven't done every single night, but I think most years we have. I mean, a lot of years we have covered it all the way through.
Yeah, you did daily. You did daily a couple years ago. You did daily Champion Carnival. Yeah.
And if I wasn't doing daily, we would come on every week and catch up on what happened that week. So it's a fucking Champion Carnival, man. So I know it's not your father's All Japan. We all understand that, but there's some
it's a Champion Carnival. It's still the fucking Champion Carnival. You gotta cover it. Yeah, gotta cover it. But yeah, we'll both lock in obviously with the semifinals and the finals. But that is it for us. Plenty to cover next week. That is going to be a big time Flagship. A lot of big time wrestling shows coming up next week. So of course you want to listen in to that next week. In the meantime, Flagship, patreon.com for all of our bonus audio. Flagship Pluses. I reviewed the big time Stardom show from last week, All-Star Grand Queendom. So I talked about the major matches on that show. You've been doing Flagship Pluses, catching up on the Champion Carnival and some other big time stories going on in the world of wrestling, including the TJP, a blow by blow breakdown of the TJP Jeff Cobb drama, broken down better than anybody could possibly break it down. The drama of this and who, not necessarily who's in the right and who's in the wrong, but giving you some thoughts on the whole details of the entire drama, not just from one side, but from a neutral side. What's going on?
Neutral and right down the middle.
Yep.
I just assessed it with the way my gut told me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So neither guy looks particularly great.
No. Right.
But I think.
Neither guy would endorse. Here's the best way to know you did it right: is neither guy would endorse your breakdown of it. Probably.
That was very well put.
Neither guy would say, "Yeah, this guy's got the right. This is the right
but
idea."
But I will say this. I will say this though. I don't think it's fair if you really look at all the facts to just automatically assume TJP is being TJP and it's all his fault. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's a little deeper than that, even if you don't like the guy.
Absolutely.
And I didn't go into it, I have to go into it, like you said, neutral. I just wanted to assess what we know and what we've been told and break it down that way. So that's probably a half hour worth of audio. Right?
It's a long, I remember listening to that. I was like, oh my God, it's still going. This is a long breakdown of this drama. But again, if not you, who? But you nailed it on that. So that's all available on flagshippatreon.com. $5 tier, $10 tier. $10 tier gets you all of our live audio, which including, hey, this month, May. So we're promoting that there. Double or Nothing coming up later this month.
It's gonna be May.
Yeah, it's here, man. We're here. So a lot of good stuff coming up in May. $5 tier gets you all of our bonus audio, but I want to get on that $10 tier, unlock everything, plus our live shows. But that is going to be it for us. So that is Joe. I am Rich. Thank you guys for listening to The Flagship. Talk to you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Hello there, everybody. It's me, Garrett Kidney, the co-host of You've Got to Be Kidding Me on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And I am Liam Jones, my full name, and I'm also a part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network as a co-host for You've Got to Be Kidding Me.
We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. We cover all the drama, all the matches, all the Vince Russo nonsense you could ever want in your life.
Have you heard of TNA? I bet you have, but would it be funnier if two people made jokes over it the whole time? Probably.
So if that sounds like fun to you, check it out on this very Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and Liam will do bits and whatnot.
Ugh, spam calls. Sound familiar? Introducing Line 2. Get a second phone number right on your existing phone. Imagine discounts, appointments, online forms. Handle it all without giving out your personal number. It's like having a secret weapon against spam. And when those unwanted calls sneak through, boom, blocked. No more interruptions, no more stress. Stay connected, stay protected. Keep your main number safe and out of harm's way. Ready to take back your phone? Visit line2.com/audio or download Line 2 in the App Store today.